too creepy.
That's weird.
Can we? I almost want to take that over.
No, we don't want to take it over. Let's just hop right into it. That's what we're fucked.
Yeah.
That sound is why. That sound is why.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, settle down. All right.
Yeah, dial it back, sex clown.
He's not that good. No man is that good. Just simmer the fuck down. Nothing that.
Well, not since Hugh Hefner died.
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah. Nothing that isn't vibrating and made of silicone is that good.
Ejaculates chocolate and prints money.
Yeah, I still can't decide whether Hugh Hefner was like an okay guy or an asshole. Everyone seems to have very different.
It's okay if he's both. It's okay.
I think it's probably
most people are both.
Yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi in Sunny, where Dennis becomes a hippie.
Oh yeah, that's right. He becomes a hippie exclusively for the sex, I think.
Yeah, just employs this huge gambit to convince the guy to chain himself to the tree so he could fuck his girlfriend.
Anyway, I guess we might as well. Let's do an official welcome here. Welcome back to the Three Dudes Cast.
Hey, episode 20. Back to business.
God damn it! I was gonna try and avoid that.
No,
stop it!
I want them to hear me say the number.
They can see the number.
I like telling them anyway.
What if they're driving? Then they can't see what episode number.
Right. They can if they have a car with the thingy on it.
What if they've stumbled into a tunnel and this sound is playing in it?
God damn it. All right. We're back. It's episode 20. Mm-hmm. Back to the original format. Sorry we missed last week, everybody. It was Aubrey's birthday.
Yay!
We all kind of
Aubrey had the dirty 30.
I was busy. Me and her were busy going to the one and only Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio.
Holy diver!
And boy, was it fucking cool.
Oh yeah, dude, that's the shit.
Oh, so good. So good. I just spent like almost all of last night just looking up the inductees and listening to their anthologies.
Nice.
But because B.B. King's anthology is so huge, that was all I got through.
Yeah, right. Way to get to Dylan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fucking cool place, man. We're fortunate here. We got within driving distance for us. We have the Rock Hall, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and if you don't mind taking a couple hours on the freeway, you can get to the Motown Museum in Detroit.
That's right.
Which I would recommend to anybody.
There's also if you go west on 80, I'm just saying there's the RV and Mobile Home Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Where is that?
It's out on I-80, so it's surrounded by corn in the middle of bumfuck Egypt.
Somewhere in Western Ohio, or
I was driving. I was going with my boss to Chicago on a trip, and we trucked it 6 hours on I-80, and it was just corn, and it was just corn in the RV Hall of Fame,
and that's it.
And that's it.
I saw it from the side of the highway. I was like, oh, that's interesting, and then went back to reading.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Wow, so exciting.
Yeah.
Wonder if anyone makes that drive just for that.
No. No, they don't.
I would really hope not.
Well, when you live in a mobile home, I mean, nothing's really a drive. The road is your home.
The road is my home.
Life is a highway. I want to drive it. All right. Sit the fuck down, everybody. It's session 20. We're getting into it. I'm hosting this week.
Yes.
I am very tired.
Yeah, dude, I'm so tired.
I am so.
I'm gonna be sucking down coffee as fast as I can.
I don't want to do this podcast. No, that's not true. I want to do this podcast. No. I need to wake up. That's
right.
Let that coffee hit you.
Yeah,
by the first break, we need to finish these and be starting on another one.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. These are strong, by the way. I brew my coffee strong.
Well, good, because I'm dying up.
You're going to have heart palpitations.
Hey, by the way,
it tastes good.
Speaking of coffee, that fucking Keurig, oh my god, I'm fucking addicted to it.
No shit. I'm glad you're making use of it.
I love the goddamn thing. Not only is it I like it for the coffee. I've been drinking a lot more coffee since I got it. But it also just makes warm water in like 10 seconds.
Yes, it does. That's how we do tea. Yeah.
Boiling hot water in 10 seconds and I have tea.
It's super convenient.
I love it. I love it so much.
It's really convenient.
This is what's going to solve my alcoholism.
Well, gosh, if anything can solve it, the geniuses at Keurig can.
Yeah.
Thanks, Germany.
Germany, the inventors and destroyers of alcoholism.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it.
No, we're. So we're back. It's been a couple. We haven't done it in a while. It's been a while. It's been a long time. Now I'm doing the podcast or show. But wait.
Clumsy. Yeah, last week while you were away, we had a little jam session.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
nice.
We still got the gear back there.
We actually recorded some kind of interesting. I think we had some interesting stuff happen, man.
We did. Oh yeah, shit. We
didn't really listen to it afterwards.
No, it's recorded on there. There was a whole lot of fucking around, but yeah.
But I think we hit a couple of really interesting strides. Or I was just drunk.
But. Yeah, right. One of the two.
Yeah, I definitely since the Hall of Fame, I've been picking up the guitar a little bit.
Gotta noodle around a little sometimes. Give a little noodle.
I gotta do it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's worth picking up.
It's nice to make something. I mean, that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Yeah.
Between doing this podcast and doing the podcast with Christy, I've been producing 2 shows a week. And I've been feeling really good about making stuff. And I'm realizing that maybe nothing makes me feel as good as making something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there's an actual psychological phenomenon called the IKEA effect, where a person's most valuable possessions are the things they've created themselves.
Right.
Yeah, right. So when you have to build that fucking end table when it comes into your house,
yeah,
you love it more.
Right.
I believe that because I got a couple of shitty little bed stands in my bedroom that I put together myself.
They're not going away. Yeah.
Over 3 painstaking hours after a trip to IKEA, and they are not going away.
Right.
Oh god, that's gross. Oh.
Well, what happened? Well, you got a little pipe fiasco?
Spittle there.
Gross. Dude, that is the worst. I'm gagging thinking about it. How about you out there? Are you gagging?
Are you guys gagging? my weird tar spit pipe mouth?
Stop.
Oh god. I gotta dry it off now.
Oh no. And we just lost 2 listeners.
Oh god. Alright. So I guess let's get into it. Why you know what? I was gonna start with me. And I am going to start with me.
Oh, nice psych out.
Fake out. Wow.
That's a real Conroy level fake out you just pulled on us.
Yeah. All right. This is something that's been eating on my mind for a long time in the age that we live in, where
in the parlance of our
times, we're living in a really hard time right now in the States where we got fiascos on both sides. And I think the one thing that all of us can come together and agree is that when you're watching pornography online, there's nothing worse than a man who talks during the scene.
Wow, that is a great reason we're fucked.
There's nobody.
Yeah. You like that, Dave?
Yeah. Nobody. You're not okay. So seriously,
I like that.
Am I crazy? Is there anybody? Even the women aren't watching for the man. You're just the vessel.
Half the time, the women aren't even watching a man and a woman. They're just watching some woman do something.
Right. Half the time, that's what I'm watching. I mean, the times when you watch the dude, they're just the vessel for the it's pounding, as it were.
It's a vicarious sensory and physical.
Yeah, it's the reason Master Chief doesn't. You put on his visor and you go inside Master Chief's head.
Okay, I was wondering where the fuck you were going.
It's the reason that he should be faceless.
Right.
It's your Master Chief, and in that porno, you're that guy.
Right.
Don't talk. Black or not.
Right. Black or not. Right. For the love of God. And I thought that black people were the minority. You ever gone on any porn site in America? You can't. I mean, it's very large.
There might be an outside representation in porn, I think, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
For reasons.
Yeah, for reasons.
Yeah.
But no, just fucking settle down, dude. Nobody's here.
Talk.
Nobody is here to see you. You are just the vessel that delivers the dick.
Yeah, that's right.
Your thoughts and your emotions and your...
You have no needs.
You have no needs. You mean nothing. No, we're not watching you.
Are a piece of meat.
When we're watching the dick go in, we're not watching the dick. We're watching the vagina that's getting something out of our peripheral getting put into
For all I care, it could be a big thumb.
Right, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are not important, and whatever you're talking about doesn't matter.
I mean, I would probably notice for a second, go, huh, and then forget about it.
Right, because it's over. A dick as a thumbnail. That's weird.
Yeah, you like that? Or you're doing this thing that, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so, all right, come on now. You know, like, no woman likes it when you abuse them. Like, please stop.
Yeah,
you know.
Really, like encouraging yourself to continue abuse them is not attractive to anybody.
Right, it's not. Nobody. No, I'm not a woman. I don't have a vagina, but I would imagine that most women don't want it to be slapped really fast.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Well, it's like it's not doing anything.
Yeah, I feel like that's a woman's equivalent of like treating the dick like an Atari joystick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just like,
what are you doing?
Testing every axis.
This is actually a really interesting point is because, like, I feel like for a really, really long time, porn was probably almost exclusively cast, written, and filmed by men.
Yeah, sure.
Who, by and large, generally know nothing about women.
Sure.
And have set the tone for what we, like, see and expect out of sex.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy, because nobody fucks like that.
No, which is why amateur porn is way better. Because it's just normal people with a Sony Handycam set to 360p and then uploaded at a lower frame rate.
Yeah,
like no,
I don't really know what that version of sex, the whole like over the top.
Yeah, where did that come from?
I don't know. I think it's from people who really just don't get it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. But dudes, obviously they don't get it because nobody wants to hear the dude. And then, like I said earlier, settle down. God,
the creepy jackhammer thing is a problem.
Yeah. I think like if a woman ever did that to me, I'd be like, all right, please. Like, I know it's not.
You're embarrassing.
How about all the weird shit that goes on with like blowjobs, or like her cheek will be like out here, like, one eye will be drooping, and you know,
like, Jesus, simmer the fuck down. Nobody's doing that. Like, it's all right to get a little freaky. It's not okay to just.
It's weird.
Obliterate.
I think most versions of sex on film just represent one caricaturized aspect of our ideas of sex.
Over the top.
Sure.
I think basically, never in my life have I ever felt like I needed to be those people.
Yeah, please don't.
That's ridiculous and cartoon.
It's the dudes talking and then the women like going crazy. If somebody ever did that to me, like if you're doing porno moves on my non-porno dick, please, you know, like just don't.
If by some unfortunate circumstance I ever do have a son. Or if I ever do have a child of any gender,
a child.
If by some unfortunate circumstance I do have a child, I'm going to dispel all those illusions immediately. Sit them down and watch the one and only truly 100% accurate sex scene in Hollywood.
The one from the room?
The one from Superbad.
Oh.
wait. Oh, the McLovin scene?
Both of them, the McLovin scene and Michael Cera's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna look. This is the truth. This is real life. Mm-hmm. It is going to be awkward. It's going to be silly as fuck. Mm-hmm. Make sure you do it with someone you love and care about.
Yeah, that's really God. I mean, that's something you should think about. Is how you would explain
right.
this.
Well, I mean, and like it's when you realize that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is supposed to be something fun, and it's not going to be perfect the first time.
Yeah.
And you're going to, put your elbow on her hair, and, you know.
It's going to be a goddamn mess.
It's going to be a mess.
You're going to make a mess of it many times after that.
Right, you're correct.
I don't know. It's just, like, I certainly don't want sex to be a workout, a marathon, or a triathlon, or anything like that. I don't know where people get this idea. It's not for me.
No, I don't know. It's just, like... Yeah, I have a lot of problems with porn in general.
Yeah.
But like the worst, I get like the big Hollywood movie, not the big Hollywood, but like the Silicon Valley porno shoots. I don't get amateur porn where the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you like that, baby? Yeah, you fucking like that." Like, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Like, even if she likes it, I don't, and I don't like watching it.
I don't like you liking her like it.
Right? Yeah. Please stop. Like, God, this is frustrating. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Yes. Who wants to go next?
God, something that might be an episode all in itself.
Yeah, this weird porno sex. Yeah. No.
I got a reason we're fucked. I want to talk about this for the umpteenth time because I'm still pissed off about it. But I haven't talked about it on the show yet.
Oh, yeah.
Rick and Morty fans and the Szechuan sauce disaster
of 2017.
Yes, the great Szechuan sauce disaster of 2017. I, like an ignorant, dumb fuck ass, got in my car Saturday at around 1:15 and went with my girlfriend to the Youngstown location McDonald's across from YSU, which was the closest place that was supposed to have the limited release Szechuan sauce based on their previous sauce and popularized by Rick and Morty.
It was one joke.
I know.
It was a throwaway joke.
I know. Well, I'm all for the internet campaigning to get shit brought back, right?
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
Crystal Pepsi. That's why we have Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah. And then immediately lost Crystal Pepsi, right?
I mean, no, it's still there.
Is it still around?
Still get it, yeah. And Surge, for that matter. Surge is back.
Hey, I'm buying Surge.
Pretty soon.
The other day.
Did you? Yeah. Hey, pretty soon we're going to get McDonald's orange drink back. We talked about that on an earlier episode.
Oh, yeah. Was the high C that they discontinued?
Yeah.
Man, fantastic stuff.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
But
very good. Yeah.
I went and actually stood in line with my girlfriend for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And here's why. We showed up to find that the line was already wrapping out the front door all the way around the area where the cars drive around, all the way over to the door on the other side of the McDonald's, and then up about 20 feet back again. It had snaked.
Jesus.
So it was beginning to form a double arc.
A
second arch.
A serpentine of neckbeards.
Yeah, it was. It was a snake-like structure full of neckbeards and their
a
girlfriends.
murder of neckbeards.
So we were standing there, and I was getting increasingly irritated and frustrated.
A friend zone of neckbeards.
No. See, it's not unappealing enough. I feel like a clump of neckbeards, or a coagulation of neckbeards would be.
Like a slime ball of neckbeards.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So
a slippery anus of neckbeards.
A drain blockage of neckbeards.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's good.
I might do it.
A wad of neckbeards.
It was irritating to be around.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I gotta say, because here's the thing: is I know this is my problem that I think I'm so much cooler than all this shit, right? But I'm standing there with them.
Yeah.
And then I'm realizing that that's making me angry. And there's this dude in front of me with long hair and a beard, basically quoting the show at the stranger next to him, and I'm getting irritated with that. And then I'm like, but how different am I from this guy?
You're not.
We quote shit a whole lot.
I know.
I mean, let's be real. We quote Big Lebowski almost every time we see each other.
Everybody does. It's okay. It's not okay to do it. It's not okay when it becomes obnoxious.
Yeah.
When you're around, we're around. The difference is we're around people we know.
Yeah. Right.
You're not just turning to the guy. You're not just the kid from A Christmas Story. Like, I like the Wizard of Oz.
No, we've established an environment where that's acceptable. I get that. But I was getting irritated, and then I'm hearing people talk about, I didn't hear that they were going to have more than 80 packets of sauce at any store nationwide. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we're wasting our time. It's like 1:40, 1:45, and I'm looking at Christy, and I'm like, let's just go. Let's just get out of here.
The bigger problem is you willingly went to a McDonald's. What the fuck is wrong with you?
To wait in line
for sauce.
Not
even for any food of substance.
No, well, it was to get the tendies with the sauce. That was the idea.
So I read that article on Facebook, and this is the extent of my response to that. Oh. And then I forgot about it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Well, I wanted bragging rights. I wanted to be the guy that puts a picture on his Facebook wall being like, look what I got, I mean, that's cool.
I mean, you know how much those fucking things are going for on eBay right now.
They're hundreds of dollars.
You really could have sold that for, if you would have priced it $100 lower than the average of everybody else, you could have made a lot of money.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, we knew we weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
So we left.
So what's the point? Yeah.
So at some point we walk away, and I hear people going, "Oh man, down!" Oh. I didn't even want to turn around and be like, "Fuck you, fucking dumbass." But the real reason we're fucked, beyond that, is all the different McDonald's stores all over the country. I'm sure you've read about where there were literal riots.
They did. A 5-year-old drew a poster. And then people rioted over goddamn sauce that apparently isn't even that good.
Yeah. No, I hear it's, first of all, not that great.
Right.
It's kind of like a teriyaki sweet and sour and stuff.
I was going to say, I can imagine exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah.
And it's probably just like that red sauce that comes in those bags of microwave Tyson General Tso's
with
chicken.
teriyaki sauce in it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they would.
I bet you anything that's exactly what it's like.
It's just like a sweet teriyaki base.
You can go get Frank's sweet chili sauce, and it's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people took it upon themselves to harass and abuse people working at a McDonald's, which is already the most frustrating thing you can be doing, let alone when a bunch of fucking nerds show up yelling at you because you didn't have the sauce they wanted.
Yeah. God.
I know.
What a world.
If Rick and Morty didn't already have a deserved reputation for having some of the worst fans on planet Earth, they really doubled down on this one.
Sure.
And what really sucks is you can tell it's starting to get to Royland and Harmon.
Yeah, right.
Sure, yeah.
Well, they've been
They have nothing to do
times
with this.
Yeah.
No, but they're getting really tired of the fans they have making the show and them look us as more.
Yeah.
Oh, joy.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
so you too can get a chance at a mediocre, forgettable sauce in just a few months.
No, I won't.
In just a few
because I don't
short
go to
months.
McDonald's.
Right.
I'll probably go if they have it. I'll probably go. I'm not going to be like thrilled about it.
You know what? I don't like McDonald's, but I will say that the last time I went there, we saw it at the drive-in.
Yeah.
And we got 2 Mickey D's dinner boxes, and I ate so much.
2
man.
Mickey D's dinner boxes?
One for me and one for Trisha. And I sat there and I poured on.
God.
I mean, we just...
They bill it as a meal for a family of 4.
Yep. Don't pretend like you haven't
I've eaten
ordered
one before.
Right, come on.
I'm just surprised that
I didn't eat the whole thing. I will say the first time that they came out with those, I did sit down. We got 2 of them.
Yeah.
And we ate the whole thing.
it's like, okay. When I did that, it was painful.
It's absurd.
It was painful. When I did that, I was mad and then I fell asleep.
Yeah. it's literally absurd. We got it's $10. Let's get 2 of them.
It's just the blood sugar spike and fall off is so bad.
The crash is horrible. It's not like this. It's not like this
Eating that meal is like going through chemotherapy.
Yeah.
It just leaves your body weary and disoriented for days.
I saw remember there was a movie that was on HBO in the early 2000s, and it was like a made for HBO movie, and it was acted. It wasn't like a documentary or anything. It was like this woman battling ovarian cancer.
Okay.
And
McDonald's cures her.
I remember the only thing I remember is there's a shot of her chemoed, no hair, oxygen mask, laying in bed, kind of in the fetal position, and that is how I feel after I eat McDonald's.
Jesus Christ.
Stage 4 ovarian cancer.
You know what though? You're not wrong.
I know.
You're not wrong. It's debilitating.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Eating that meal is like taking on an autoimmune disorder.
Right.
It's like so fucking awful.
Yep. Human ImmunoBigMac virus.
It's rampant in McDonald land. Grimace has it. You saw what happened to him.
Yeah. Poor Grimace.
Ben?
Well, yeah, why are we
I know you have many reasons we're fucked this week.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've forgotten most of them.
sorry.
But one is still sticking out of my mind, mostly because we were talking about it a little bit ago, and it's got to do with Cuphead.
Yeah, oh boy.
As many folks know, Cuphead came out after 3 years of work, something ridiculous
hard work
like that.
from a very small staff,
hand animated, just everything. And
it's beautiful. First of all, let's say an early recommendation. Excellent.
It's a beautiful game. It stands out. Everything is tight. It's a fair game. The controls are spot on. Everything about it for me has been good. It's appropriately challenging. It's just a buttload of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not according to game critics.
Yeah.
Not according to I guess I shouldn't name any names.
Why not?
IGN.
But let's say for instance, hypothetically, that the 2 that come to mind are IGN and Rock Paper Shotgun.
Let's just say.
Yeah.
I know these 2 game publications called IGM and rock, paper, bazooka.
Okay. God, I wonder who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Such a thinly veiled conceit.
Thinly veiled nothing. I worked hard at that. Fuck you. No, but and this is hardly the only instance of something like this happening. It's very, of course, indicative of a larger problem. Game journalists being very out of touch with not only the people who play and develop games, but with the games themselves.
Sure.
While we're singing the praises of Skyrim's
Take that away from you in a minute.
while they're singing the praises of Skyrim's third re-release that's upcoming on the PlayStation VR
and the Switch. Don't forget the Nintendo Switch.
It's coming up on the Switch, yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Let me buy the game for the 4th time.
Right. That ain't happening.
Just do Elder Scrolls 6. We want to play it elsewhere, please.
I don't know I want to play in Hammerfell. I want to be
anywhere.
I want to wander the desert and cut down.
Please, I'm not online. For the love of God.
Yeah, I don't hear good things about that.
God damn it, Bethesda.
So while that's going on, meanwhile, great indie games like Cuphead come out, and it's too hard.
Okay, do you remember Mario? I bought a SNES Classic recently, and I am even more shit at Super Mario World than I remember being.
Yeah, those games were hard.
It ain't easy. Here's the thing too. Super Mario World even has like fucking lives.
Yeah.
In Cuphead, you can keep trying however many times you fucking want.
Yeah.
There's no game over. There's no continue screen.
Yeah.
If you fail at a boss, you try that motherfucker again.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why I say Dark Souls isn't as hard as people say it is.
Right.
You lose the souls that you've earned up, sure. You'll get like 3 times as many from beating the boss.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have lives. You don't suffer hardly any penalty for dying in Dark Souls because you will die a lot.
Yeah.
There are no lives, there's no continue screens. It's one of the reasons why I keep saying it's not as hard as people keep saying it is. If you keep trying, you'll get it.
Yeah.
It's the way video games should be. It shouldn't have to like hold your hand or give you like a free pass every time you get shot.
Well, we've been spoiled by the way games are, the architecture of video games now. We've been spoiled.
Well, you know what part of it is like I'm thinking. I guess I'm kind of thinking primarily of like a Call of Duty type game here, where you die and you come back to the checkpoint. The mechanics and the enemies, the way enemies behave, and the challenges are actually fairly random.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the enemies take cover, they decide at the drop of a hat which ones shoot at you, which ones are accurate, which ones are the biggest threat. That changes every time.
Uh-huh.
In games like Cuphead and Dark Souls, the challenge is there not because things are random. In fact, things are laid out pretty much the same thing every time, the same way every time you play.
Standard boss rush games,
Yeah. In Dark Souls, the same enemies are there. The first time, maybe one of them takes you by surprise, but then the next time he's there.
Right.
And the challenge comes from, being able to get the patterns down and
Yeah.
It's much more like an old school kind of challenge.
Sure.
And the fact that people seem to think that that's hard now is ridiculous. Because I can remember sitting in front of my TV for however many hours straight, trying desperately to beat Sonic 2.
Yeah,
the first game I ever owned. If you'll recall, in the final level of Sonic 2, there are no rings.
Right.
One hit will kill you automatically.
I do not remember that. I didn't get that far.
In Death Egg Zone.
Yeah.
No rings.
That sucks.
You have to beat both bosses. There are 2 bosses in the level, Mecha Sonic and Robotnik's Big Robot. You have to beat them both without getting hit. The first time I did it, I felt like a god.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's if you happen to run out of lives on the second to last stage, fuck you gotta restart.
That's so evil.
I feel like the people that publicize games and the people that talk about games are like so out of touch if they think that something with no lives, no continue screens, where you can just keep trying until you get it.
Sure.
Where they think something like that is hard, unreasonably hard.
Yeah.
shouldn't be allowed to talk about video games.
Well, and let's be honest, it's tough. It's not like it's not difficult.
Right. It seems like
it's challenging.
It's challenging.
It's very challenging. And again, let me also be clear. I haven't gotten very far. Like we played a couple bosses at your place, and we beat a couple. We beat a couple stages.
We beat the garden boss. See, I went through and I beat the forest stage. I beat the blue goo boss, and then I beat. I guess it's not so much of a boss. There's a ghost level.
Yeah.
It's like
you got to spring off the ghost.
Protect the urns, the urn from the ghost. Yeah. Right. I can't even remember the other boss I beat, but
It's hard, but it's not doable. That's why it's frustrating, because when you die, it's not the game's fault. It's just that you personally have failed, and you have to now start back over. And you can do it because it's laid out for you in such a way that you can beat the game. You can beat the stage that you're on. But if you don't, it's all on you. That's why. And games like that are tremendously infuriating for me. But it's done with such charm that I can't be mad, because I fucked it up, and it's beautiful.
It's not like a single player RPG where you run into a boss you're not leveled up enough for, and it turns out you have to go back and grind a while and get the numbers that you need.
You have all the tools at your disposal that you need.
Everything you need.
Exactly.
Right.
It's Dark Souls is the exact same way. The levels help, but it's possible to beat the game without leveling up once.
I wonder what it is that they really don't like about this game. I kind of have a hard time figuring that out.
You kind of touched on it, I think, is that we have our hands held for video games nowadays, which has done us basically no favors.
Yeah, I think so too.
What I mean? Like my first console was an N64, so I grew up on GoldenEye and F-Zero, and old school Mario 64. Those are games that my friend Alec, who's been on the show with us before, we sat down and we played the fuck out of those games. I have stuff on my N64 cartridges that I'm proud of.
Records and stuff.
And there's one that burns my ass. F-Zero X on the N64. There's one stage that we didn't beat. It's the final cup, the special cup on the hardest difficulty. Everything else is beaten, on all 4 difficulties except that one. I have the special screen on my Mario Kart 64 cartridge because I completed the entire thing. You know what I mean? You get,
actual accomplishments that took real time.
I have an unbelievably high score on Star Fox. I have a ridiculously insane Star Fox 64 score. I think I've showed it to you guys before.
I think you might have.
It's absurd. It's absurd but that's stuff that you're.
But now imagine those same games with a gated checkpoint system all along the way. It took the satisfaction of a really good run out of gaming.
Right, exactly.
And I feel like Cuphead doesn't even really go back to that, that authentic having to grind beginning to end thing.
No.
But it's still a challenge and satisfying and more work than being, having save points all the way along the way to victory.
Controversial opinion. This is one of the reasons actually that I like Overwatch so much. But I think one of the worst things to happen to shooters was one-touch melee kills. With Halo, it takes multiple melee hits to kill.
Sure, unless you get them from behind. Which logically makes sense in a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an assassination.
Counter-Strike Go actually does the same thing. Melee attack from behind is a one-hit kill.
Right.
Anything from the front does standard damage.
Correct.
Overwatch, the melee in that game, of course, emergency situations only. It doesn't do that much.
You almost don't need to use it. You know what I mean?
Right. It's just there. It's vestigial.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in terms of games hand-holding you, I feel like one-touch kill melee is one of the worst things to happen to shooters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean where people run up and knife someone no matter what position they find them in and they're dead.
Yeah.
Battlefield is
doubly so if it's Call of Duty where it assists your aim, it nudges you a little bit,
hate that.
and makes you lunge.
That is so unfair.
Fuck that to death.
That's why nobody plays Call of Duty anymore.
Even in Halo 3 when you had the energy sword and you lunged with it, it still wasn't an instant kill.
Right.
Right. You usually need it.
Well, someone could if they had another sword, they could parry you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, charge at the same time. Yeah. Those duels were some of the most fucking fun.
Oh yeah,
ever.
And there was simple mechanics. You can block if you come at the same time, if you clash swords, you're gonna, you can keep
clash
going
swords,
forever.
come at the same time,
right?
Everybody wins.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I think we're fucked. Is because the people that get paid to review video games are babied by the current state of video games.
Yeah.
And also, what kind of fucking asshole grows up and decides they want to be a critic? What kind of fucking loser not getting their penis touched neckbeard and wants to be a critic?
I was saying this to someone not long ago. I think it was about. It wasn't about Cuphead. I think it was about like an initial review of Overwatch that was like really like, oh well, this game is too lighthearted and cartoony. It was. Do you remember the episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes a food critic?
Yes,
and loves everything, but thinks that he has to be negative about everything because everyone else is doing it. Okay. You can't be a real critic unless you're a contrarian.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like some of that gets into these people's minds.
I'd be the worst critic because I like most things. Well, if you remember, like Cuphead was one of those things when we did the YouTube show. Mm-hmm. I remember you telling me like, we gotta play Cuphead on the show because I remember showing you guys like the early test demos that they had for it.
It looks so exciting,
just as beautiful then as it does now.
Yeah,
even more. You know what I mean? Like now that it's out, it's unbelievable what they managed to do.
Yeah, really. 2-person team, right?
2-person team, or if you play by yourself. The other thing too.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't it 2 guys that made this game?
Yeah, it was 2. They started the idea 2-person team initially. I think they had people. I know they had to have it digitally colorized. So it got sent out for that because it would take a decade for them to have to hand color everything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why they were. I remember the announcement. They made an announcement that said, "We're really sorry. We have to digitally color this."
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah, that's fine. We just want to play the game. Like, it doesn't matter. You already did all the hard work.
Yeah. Like, just get us the game.
Please. We just want to play it. Yeah. And no, it's I don't know. I have a big problem with critics. Movie critics. I like what I like. That's why I like the red letter media approach to things. Because it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they have a very honest approach to certain movies, and they like movies that are bad, quote unquote.
Right. The thing is, they also get a bad rap for hating everything. I mean, they have been accused of. I mean, I think is there a blog called Mike Stacklasa Hates Movies?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they get a bad rap for that too. I think probably the route from being someone who talks about media to being a critic is a real slow drag.
Yeah, sure.
Where you start to question your own self, and then feel a need to come down on certain things to establish what things you do like.
Sure,
I guess, but fuck.
Yeah, it sucks though.
It sucks.
Yeah, put more credible people in positions like that to talk about the media, because they're completely out of touch with the people that actually like this shit.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, guys? Should we get into the meat of the show? We'll take a break.
Let's take a break. I need more coffee.
Yeah, give me like
coffee.
Give me like not a whole cup.
A little half a splish?
like a 2/3 fill.
Yeah,
give me one of
that.
those, and I think I'll be good to go. I'm starting to wake up.
Okay.
All right, we'll be back in just a little bit. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the show, and enjoy whatever we put in the center here.
All right. Bye.
And welcome, everybody, to the 2018 NFL Draft. I am Chip Chipley.
I am Ball Tosley.
And we're here, and we're going to be making all the coverage. It's been an interesting year in football, and even more interesting for the first pick this year. The Cleveland Browns managed in a 16-game season to lose 23 games.
Well, yes,
unprecedented.
Yes.
So they have... as I understand it, they have lost so bad that they get the first 23 picks.
It would be the first, and is the first time that this has ever happened.
Unprecedented. Truly amazing. The question is, who are they going to pick up? We have a lot of great...
That's a question on everyone's minds.
Of course, they have the option of taking Heisman Trophy winner Mike Whiteley, the whitest quarterback who we have ever seen. Out of the University of Auburn.
It's true. Now, we've stacked him up against several other quarterbacks, and it is true that he is the whitest we've ever seen.
He is incredibly white.
It's
very white.
Almost painful. Kind of stings the eyes.
When asked how he felt about his national championship win and coming off his senior year as the Heisman, he said,
It feels very good. I would now like a bowl of Raisin Bran and to retire at 62. Very white indeed.
Indeed.
Yes.
So I suppose we should take a look down here at the where the thing happens.
It looks like Chairman Sheboygan is getting ready to announce the first pick. We'll see what the Browns come up with.
All right.
GMs, coaches, players, all welcome to the 2018 NFL Draft. Now, I know you've been thinking a lot about this, and there are still time to make last-minute changes, but don't roll it around in your skulls too much. That was a concussion joke. I apologize. The Cleveland Browns are first to select in this year's draft. Godspeed, you beautiful failures. For their first pick in the draft, the Cleveland Browns select Truck Whale Carcass.
Oh, truck whale carcass.
This is a predictable move for the Browns.
Yes.
They've been saying for a while they're looking for a man the size of a whale
to fit into a truck's carcass.
Yes.
Incredible.
That is exactly what this player is.
The linebacker out of Iowa State University comes in at a towering 6'11".
Towering, you said.
6'11".
That's not how I would describe that at all.
480 pounds.
Well,
a monster of a man if there ever was one.
Yes.
He recorded an unprecedented 382 tackles.
Wow.
In his last season, which just defies logic.
I feel like I should have known that.
I feel like the statistician is lying a little bit.
Yeah.
Here he comes. He's on his way up.
There we go.
It's trucked. And
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
It appears that he's spontaneously gone necrotic all over his entire body.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
He's turning a horrible shade of purple.
I'm actually getting ill. Oh, my God. He's really Indiana Jones this situation. Oh, God. Please, someone call Sean Connery.
I feel like he's not going to be able to play in that condition.
No, I don't think so. Someone tell me how to spell Jehovah, because the Browns are sunk.
Oh dear. Well, let's settle down, folks. In circumstances like this, National Football League guidelines stipulate that the Browns may select another draft pick. I'm just getting it now. Yes.
Let's see who they choose. This is going to be very interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Thank you. With their first NFL draft pick, take two. It was a sudden necrosis joke.
Get out of there.
The Cleveland Browns select Coleslaw Tugboat.
Oh, Coleslaw Tugboat.
Now, this is a name everybody knows.
The all-American safety out of Auburn University.
You can't think about football without thinking about Coleslaw Tugboat in America in 2018.
You can't think about America without thinking about coleslaw, and you can't think about strong safeties without thinking about tugboats.
That's absolutely
Everybody's talking about tugboat coleslaw, tugging his coleslaw in a boat called life. He's just a dominating figure in the Auburn backfield. He recorded an unprecedented 45 interceptions in one game. A game they still managed to lose somehow to Alabama because Alabama is unstoppable.
He's going to be a major asset to the Browns. This is an area of the team that they need development in. This could be the man to turn the season around.
There he comes walking up to Coach Hugh Jackson. He's heading up. Oh my goodness!
Oh no!
Oh God! What is happening?
Oh, it looks like his foot just shattered in 87 pieces. I counted very quickly. There's 87 fragments of foot stump all over the side steps of the stage.
God. He's bleeding all over Hugh Jackson.
Oh no!
Oh God!
Oh, this is horrible. Oh, and now he's puking. Puking pure cheese into the audience. Just gobs of cheddar.
Oh God!
Spraying into the faces of the front row.
Well, gee whiz. We're putting a cracker on his career, I think, here. Wow. Truly unfortunate for the Browns. The question is, what do we do now?
This is really a disaster. I don't think this has ever happened back to back.
We're used to seeing Browns draft picks get injured, but none so close to the draft. They
true.
haven't even had a chance to put the uniform on.
Well, let's see what they do next, because I think they're going to have to pick a very serious contender to make up for these two missed opportunities.
Well, all right. Let's settle down, everyone. This is an unprecedented moment in the history of the NFL. But again, the Cleveland Browns are entitled to... yes, the ambulance is on the way. The Cleveland Browns are entitled to reselect their first-round draft pick. And I'm just getting the note now. Just...
You can see the cleanup crews making their way into the front row.
Give me the mopping up the blood there. Very good.
Blood and cheese.
Let go of it. Look, please. Oh, I need the note. I need to read. Thank you.
Also.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Cleveland Browns select Dog Biscuit Admiral.
Oh, Dog Biscuit Admiral.
Now, this is a classic pick and a very safe strategy, I think, for the Browns.
You know, we've seen them in the past draft offensive linemen. It hasn't mattered because they are just terrible.
Now, this is the first time I believe that a Dachshund has been drafted into the NFL.
Yes.
As you can see...
We'll see how it works out. This is a thick Dachshund.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to point out the all-star center from Kent State comes in with 45 pancake blocks on the season. Mm-hmm. He's incredible. He's got more pancakes than the IHOP. Am I right, Balsley?
Maybe.
Whatever.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But he's short and he's low to the ground. He's squat, but I think he has some serious blocking potential. I think
and in poor weather games during the holidays, he wears a cute little sweater.
Plus, he can reach his own balls. Let's see here. Okay, here he is.
Who among us?
He's making his way up to the stage now.
Oh, here we go. He's barking.
Fantastic.
Oh God! Oh God! It appears that a rogue samurai has made his way out from the crowd and sliced him in half.
Oh Jesus!
Oh God!
This hasn't happened since the 1984 draft. I believe.
It's both cute and repulsive.
It's touching and horrifying.
Oh God! And they've tackled the samurai, and it looks like they're hauling him out. But oh God!
Oh no!
His cute little frame is crawling for the jersey, he's not going to get there.
Oh, I'm afraid this weenie has been roasted.
Right, you are, Balls.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you just call me Balls?
What's your name?
Oh, that is my name.
Ball Tosley?
Yeah. I prefer just Ball, thanks.
No problem. The question on everybody's mind now, that the mopper is mopping up cheese and dog excrement. What are the Browns going to do?
You know, they're going to have to really come in with a strong pick this time.
All right. This is highly unusual, a once in a blue moon type of thing, really. I'd like to thank once again the GMs, Bob Dickley, Chris Crackley, for all coming out to the draft. We surely
dog trails everywhere.
We can't air any of this, obviously, but the Cleveland Browns still need a first round draft pick. So let me see the note.
A lot of sports fans scarred out there tonight.
Oh, it's horrible.
This note is almost illegible, but I think I can just make it out.
I haven't seen anything like this since Doug Flutie's anus prolapsed.
I remember that.
All right, very well. With their first round draft pick, the Cleveland Browns select Dr. Henry Kissinger.
Oh.
You know
what? No brainer. This should have been something that they considered.
I finally won my position in the NFL.
That's so weird that we can hear him from the crowd. He hasn't approached the stairs yet. That's very weird.
It's amazing.
I think it's so very ecstatic.
Dr. Henry Kissinger, well known.
Yes, so well known that we can name several facts about him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Would you like to go first?
He is a doctor. Mm-hmm. And he has glasses.
That is absolutely
That's
right.
Very true. Honestly, and also, oddly, he's never played football. That's not a down on his life.
It is odd. It is strange, considering the stats are impressive for a man who's never played.
Thank you. It is a great honor to play. Oh my God.
Oh God, what's happening?
No.
Oh God.
Oh.
The pain.
Oh.
Indescribable.
Oh no,
pain.
Henry Kissinger's entire body is ripping open to reveal a smaller, tinier man inside him, working him with controls.
Oh God.
Trust you, capitalists.
Oh no, the tiny little alien that is piloting Henry Kissinger is escaping the stage.
I will get you next time, communists.
Someone call Will Smith.
Capitalists.
Someone call Will Smith, because this is a man in black moment if I've ever seen one.
I don't know what that means.
Wow. Someone called Johnny Cash, because we need a man in black.
If anyone would kindly patch up the hole in my sternum, it would be great.
It appears he's still speaking.
He's reaching for the jersey. He's and his robotics has failed.
Oh no!
Oh god!
Oh, disappointing.
Oh no! Wow! Very disappointing.
You know, that looked so promising.
Yeah,
such a shame.
Gross. Yeah, very promising. Yeah. Obviously, he has never played football, but really, it kind of looks like nobody else on the Browns squad has either. So.
That's true. He would have, at the very least, not been a disappointment to a franchise with seemingly no actual talent.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very disappointing, though, all the same.
The question is, what do we do now? What do we do now?
Worked through already the best possible picks. There can't possibly be someone left that would fill the needs of this franchise at this time.
Oh, wait. Commissioner?
What's that?
I've just received this notification. The Cleveland Browns draft Voltron, Defender of the Universe.
Oh, who could forget about Voltron?
That's exactly what I was going to say in exactly those words.
Yes. Wow. We're on par tonight, balls.
Well, one of the smartest things you can do is put someone on the field who is 230 feet high. It's a no-brainer.
There's a no-brainer.
Easy receiver, easy passer. He can play any position. He's made of metal.
Well, here's the thing. When he gets the ball, the fullback out of space, when he gets the ball, all he has to do is fall forward, and it's a touchdown.
That's it.
Every time. No-brainer.
He's tall enough that he can fall into the end zone from any position. Yep. This is a natural pick, a guarantee. Someone who, simply by virtue of having picked up the ball, can take it to the end zone.
By falling.
Just by falling.
Oh, God. Speaking of falling, it appears as though Voltron has fallen.
Oh, no.
And he is dismantled into several smaller pieces, and he's fallen on top of the commissioner.
Oh, my goodness.
And cracked into several smaller pieces.
Oh, no. Now he's electrocuting the commissioner.
God.
There's a current running through him and everybody else in the front row.
It's a horrifying scene here, Balls.
Oh, no.
They have fallen apart.
I told you don't call me Balls.
There are people.
It's Ball.
There are people.
Ball is my name.
Balls are your game.
Balls are my game.
Yeah.
You're all right.
But that's not important now because people are dying.
Yeah, that's right. As I see some heads are exploding from the 1.8 kilovolt current running through their bodies.
God. It's horrifying. Truly horrifying.
The entire pit at the front seems to have risen up with oil and other weird robot goo. Which we can only assume is inside Voltron because I said so.
Hot robot goo. Fill me with your hot robot goo. Come on, Balls.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Fortunately for all of us, the draft is over.
As it has ended in catastrophe for the first only ever time.
Hopefully, we'll never have to watch the NFL again. Hey, welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
We'd like to continue our show.
We'd love to.
Whether you like it or not.
We'd like to continue our show with a little segment that we call Schmarpin' and Dorpin'.
Mm-hmm.
Schmarpin', Dorpin'.
Splishin'?
Dave, let's start with Ben this week.
You really are putting on the.
What are we?
You really are putting on the mix up.
Ben, what are we schmarping and dorping this week?
Well, as you can see, I'm not schmorping anything. In truth, I forgot to get a cigar. But a week without one won't kill me. In fact, it'll probably add a week or so to my life.
Probably.
It's a shame because it's all at the end, man. It's all that last week you don't want.
Yeah.
Where you're going, I should have died last week.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Dorps?
I am dorping 19 crime.
19 crimes.
This is
seen this around.
1998.
This is a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Caps off, as it were.
And it says on the front, each declared by His Majesty to be punishable, but on conviction by transportation. And what it says on the back is 19 crimes turned criminals into colonists. Upon conviction, British rogues guilty of at least one of these 19 crimes were sentenced to live in Australia rather than death. This punishment by transportation began in 1788, and many of the lawless died at sea. For the rough-hewn prisoners who made it to shore, a new world awaited. As pioneers in a frontier penal colony, they forged a new country and new lives, brick by brick. This wine celebrates the rules they broke and the culture they built.
Right. So the English sent people to a penis island, and those that survived made wine.
Prick by prick?
Prick by prick.
And they made Cockstralia.
Yeah, I've seen that around, that 19 Crimes. How is it? And what's your expert review on this?
It's all right.
All right.
It's better the more of it you drink.
Right. No, I'm not a huge wine person.
Yeah.
But this is good. Unlike other red wines, it doesn't leave behind the aftertaste of which I am so not fond.
What was that feller on the front?
This is an actual guy.
He looks like a criminal.
He was convicted of something. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it says. Well, this is made in Australia, so there's that. This is an import.
Makes sense.
It doesn't say on the bottom. Of course, I'm of legal drinking age. How would I hear of this if I was in fucking middle school?
I swore my doors down in Africa. Dun 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 dun.
So let's see.
That sounds
Let's see. This is This is Michael Harrington. A British conscript turned infamous convict, Michael Harrington is perhaps best known for orchestrating one of the most daring escapes from Australia.
Escape from Australia.
In 1876, Harrington, along with 6 others, braved a massive typhoon in nothing more than a rowboat to board an American whaling ship in what is now remembered as the Catalpa escape.
It looks like he disguised himself as William H. Macy. Which is not a good way to escape Australia, as everyone knows he doesn't live there.
Now, I'm trying to find what the actual 19 crimes.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
That the 19 crimes. Let's see. Oh no, it just lists the wines.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, okay. Well, we know there's 19 things you can't do, or you get shipped to Australia.
Yeah, we'll look them up later.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Well, it's a curiosity though. That's a nifty looking bottle. I'm glad it's a decent wine.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's good. I dig it.
Dave, I'm gonna go next.
That's what I thought.
I am half-heartedly schmorping Captain Black's cherry pipe tobacco.
And spit.
And spit. Also, tar, spit.
Spitty tar.
Spitty tar.
I love that when you're smoking a pipe and it's some bubbles creep up into your mouth and you...
spitty tar, and I am dorping both Miller Lite and coffee, desperately trying to fend off the headache.
Yeah.
And wake myself up and drinking Miller Lite. So yeah.
And I am the least interesting in this bunch. I'm going to just round that out. I'm also drinking black coffee in an attempt to be into being awake.
Yeah, the standard Dave Dragowski.
Yeah.
This has been kind of your schmorp and dorp since the beginning.
You know what? Honestly, it just works for me.
It just works.
It just puts me right in the right place up in the old noggin. You know?
You gotta get on point for that.
Just rattles my marbles. You know what I mean?
It Jenna's your marbles.
It really wrinkles my dingles.
It William H's your Macy's.
Man, that really William H is my Macy.
And Ronald's your McDonald's.
Yeah, it really mayors my McCheese.
It really Donald's your Trump. I don't know where I'm going with this. Never mind.
Ew.
Ew.
I will refer to no part of my body with that name.
It really Svetlana's your pussy. All right. I guess we should get into the topic of the show.
Yeah, let's do it.
I want to give a special shout out to Matt Gable, friend of mine, fan of the podcast, friend of the show.
What's up, Gable?
Works at Best Buy with me.
he gave me the idea for this topic because I told him like a week and a half ago I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, and he's like, "Why don't you do this?" And I'm like, that's a good idea. I'm probably going to steal your idea.
Nice, awesome.
So we're going to run with it.
So this is kind of our first listener request.
Yeah. Hey. This is, I think this is going to be interesting. This is either going to crash and burn miserably, or...
I found the 19 crimes, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Okay. We'll review them later.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is either going to crash and burn miserably, or it's going to be really funny, or awkward, or both.
It'll probably be really funny because of how bad it crashes and burns.
Yes, that
might be every other.
I don't know how willing you guys are going to be for this.
We're going to get weird.
We'll see. We're going to get weird.
We're going to get weird.
The topic this week is drunk mistakes.
Oh no! No! I have so many of these,
which is why this is going to be a good topic, because that was my first thought.
I don't know how much I can contribute. I never make mistakes.
Yeah, sure. The first thing I said to Matt when he said that is like, "Oh God, we'll be here forever."
I felt this little pit in my heart where all the stuff I'm trying to forget lives.
Yep, and now it's coming back up.
Tell him about it.
I don't want to.
You have to. It's gonna be funny. It's a very confessional show.
No, it's drunk mistakes, and I will say that while we were talking about Cuphead there earlier, I thought about switching the topic to be difficult video games.
I'm so glad you didn't, because this is probably what we should do.
Yeah, maybe that's something we'll come back about. But then I thought, no, I'm not going to puss out. Let's do this.
You know what? It makes sense for our 20th episode to confess our sins.
Yeah,
I think in some way we've been around this block, 20 times.
Yeah,
it's time for us to just get it all out there
and do it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. How do we start? I don't know. I have many.
I have so many. I can start with one that Ben knows because he was there for it.
Okay.
This is the maybe drunkest I've ever been in my entire life.
All right, let's do it.
I know you remember. Mm-hmm. Several years. No, was it several years? It was before. It was 2 New Years ago, but like the day after, maybe.
Right.
So like maybe early January of 2016.
I remember 2 New Years ago.
Yeah,
you came out to give my mom a hug and you slipped and fell on your.
I wiped the fuck.
Yeah, because my mom came and picked me up.
Yeah,
because I didn't want to drive anywhere.
That was one hell of a
And you wiped out on your icy wheelchair path.
Just went way down in the and then I got up and was like, I'm fine, guys. But this was a couple of days after. I remember we were sitting around getting drunk, and or at least I was. I know I was really getting drunk, and we had this little thing of Johnsonville sausage and cheeses.
Oh yeah! And I remember when you had those little.
And we had the little axe chopping
knife with
it.
Right?
Yeah. I think my dad gave me one of those for Christmas.
Yeah.
With the little cleaver.
Yeah.
So I was cutting up little pieces of meat, and it went right into my finger. And I remember freaking out, but I was drunk, so I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's all that came out. It was like, oh, what? And I'm bleeding. I haven't bled on any of the food or anything, but I'm watching it bleed out of me. And I remember being like really confused about what to do about it. I was just running it under the sink going, shit. And you, Ben, got me a Band-Aid because you were not drunk or not so drunk that you didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you bandaged my finger up, which was really nice. And I remember continuing to drink a lot that night. Like a lot.
Yeah.
So much so, actually, that at one point I thought I had gone insane. And I thought you were going to turn me into the government.
Oh, yeah, I remember this story.
I can't believe how drunk I was this night. This was the drunkest I have ever been. And I remember going to hide. I went to hide in my closet.
Yeah.
I sat down in the closet and closed the door and was in there for like a really long time.
Wow.
Just like against the wall being like, oh shit, man, it's over. He's going to turn me in. They're going to find out I'm insane. And I'm not entirely sure how the night ended.
But it did.
But the next day, I remember just feeling nothing but like deep existential dread.
Yeah.
Like deep down inside, it was like I didn't remember enough that I was like, I could have killed somebody. I wouldn't know. I was so drunk.
Yeah.
That was the drunkest I think maybe I've ever been.
Yeah. Well, I think what ended up happening was, didn't I find you in the closet?
I don't think you found me in the closet.
Or something.
I came out, and
you came out. If I remember this story correctly, you came out, and you were trying to calm him down.
Yeah. Because I remember it ended with me convincing you to put your thing on.
Yeah, just to like go lay down a bit. Was this the night that you had to like lead me into the bedroom, be like lay down, put your sleep mask on, and go to bed?
I think so.
That might have been that night.
That was the night,
dude. Nothing is. I can't even believe we're talking about this because nothing is more embarrassing.
Yeah, no,
in the world.
Just wait, because I got some shit.
I was so embarrassed. I like went from like guy having a fun time to. Like
way too much.
I felt like a ward of the state.
Yeah.
Like when I thought back, I was like Ben literally caretakered me to bed.
Yeah.
That was insane. I've not been that drunk since. I've been drunk and I've not been that drunk since.
Yeah. When I first started drinking, because I mean you guys know my dad. He would have fucking killed me if he ever found out that I drank before the age of 21.
Yeah.
Which I didn't. Which is I should
lead with that.
Say that by saying I didn't, but if I had and he found out, he would have killed me.
Yeah.
So by the time I was in my early 20s, I was still pretty new to drinking. I didn't know my limits. I didn't know what beer tasted like.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. So I was just kind of trying everything for a while.
You know, really, that's a good way. When you're 21, that's a good place to start because you can mature. It is probably the correct drinking age.
Well,
because you can mature enough to know, hey, I know my line now.
Well, see, most people can.
Where's this going?
So I was trying to find out. My dad and my stepmom were out for the weekend, and so I decided to get online and play a bunch of source games with some friends of mine online.
Mm-hmm. You might have told me this, but I want to hear this.
Only a few of which I remember. So I decided the best thing to do was get a 6-pack of Guinness Stout.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which I had never tried.
Real creepy.
Took me a long time to get used to the flavor, and a bottle of peach schnapps.
I have done the schnapps thing. I did it as a young man. I wouldn't do it now.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Never again.
No,
never.
I got through it all.
It's the Four Loko of liqueur.
And by the time I had like a third of a bottle of peach schnapps left, that was about the last thing I remember.
Oh God.
I remember I was playing a game called Suicide Survival. You're in one team is gardeners, the other team is potted shrubs in a map full of potted shrubs, and you have to blend in and move around and try to get up next to the gardeners and explode. Kamikaze yourself.
It's a sort of a prop hunt style game of subversion.
Yeah. The gardeners had to kill you by throwing gardening books at you.
It was gardening books?
Books on gardening.
I feel like it's the gardener's least effective weapon against a bush.
You think so? But it killed him in one hit, so man.
Sure.
Anyway, so that was about the last thing I remember. I woke up the next morning, of course, my head was killing me, yeah. And I get up and do my thing, kind of like act normal, and my dad and stepmom come home. I can hear him downstairs, like I'm on the computer, and my dad knocks on my door and comes in, and he says, "Hey Ben, can I talk to you about something real quick?"
Oh no!
And I'm like
nervous now.
I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he says, just come out in the hall real quick. This is what killed me about it. He wasn't even that mad.
No, you're 21.
I think he thought it was hilarious. I think he was looking at me like you fucking lightweight. What are you doing?
I remember my first bottle of peach schnapps.
We should be clear here. Your dad is one of the coolest people.
Yeah.
He's an excellent human being. The only reason that he would have been really mad at you for drinking early is because he doesn't want you to be
Yeah, well, this is after 21.
Though. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like he's a caring person, and he doesn't want you to be an 18-year-old kid, doing the shit that 18-year-old kids do and being an idiot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, there was one time. It did involve alcohol and it did involve a car. He was furious.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not going to talk about that one.
No, sure.
On the grounds that it may incriminate me.
Yeah, sure. Hey, we'll get into that later. Don't worry.
But he takes me out of the hallway. On the wall, this wall is completely white. There is just a black splash all over the wall that I neglected. And he says, I can tell from the streaks that you tried to clean this up a little last night, and I appreciate that, but you might need to do a better job. And I was just like, no, that's all my Guinness, just all over the wall. And as soon as he said that, it hit me. I was like, I remember
this.
I remember it just like pouring, garden hosing out of my mouth as I made my way to the toilet. And
it's terrible.
I was so amazed that he didn't just
I remember Dad telling me don't sit there like a bump on a log. At least make the effort. Make the effort. I have no problem. Just make the effort. We've all been there. Just make the effort.
A six worth of Guinness, almost.
Yeah. Just splatter
all over the fucking wall.
So bad.
Yep.
And I remember distinctly like bringing my hand up to my mouth, but it was just my fingers, so it was just like spritzing and spraying all over the fucking place.
Oh my god!
It was not my finest hour.
No,
for sure.
No.
I got a puke story. I'll hold on to it though.
Let me get. Well, we're talking about. Yes. We're talking about early drinking stories. So
yeah, right.
I should.
Puke is going to figure in prominently into some of these.
I should note that my first and second time, I guess my first, second, and third time getting drunk looped together into one story. Because they're all tied together by one conclusion.
Okay.
First time I got drunk, I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And I found my parents' liquor cabinet.
Oh,
I stashed it under the wall of it. I'd never had a need to go into that cabinet in my life. I guess sometime in my early childhood, I knew that stuff was there, but I had forgotten. And by the time I was a 17-year-old pothead idiot, high school kid, I opened that up one day. I was looking for a waffle iron or something because I wanted waffles when I was stoned, I think. And I'm like, we have a waffle iron. What's in here? And it's just, it's one of those cabinets that is susceptibly deep. It looks like a small, the cabinets above your fridge, the real tiny ones. It looks like one of those.
Yeah.
But when I opened it up, it was 3 feet deep.
Oh my!
Because there was a wall oven there, so it stretched way back into that, and it was filled from tip to back with. I guess all the booze that my parents had been gifted or collected in some way over the years.
Oh my God.
And I'm talking I'm ballparking here. There was about $600 worth of alcohol in this cabinet.
Jesus.
So little 17-year-old me.
Naturally.
Yeah. Let's go. You know what I mean? So first thing I did.
Brand new chemistry set for Christmas. We're about to fucking experiment with some mixtures.
First thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to throw these people under the bus because nobody listening to this podcast knows who they are. My friends Mitch and Tommy. First thing I did was call them. They're two of my best friends at the time. And I said, hey, guys, guess what I just stumbled upon?
Yeah.
And, let them know. And they were like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it, So when they came over, we drank, the first time. And, it was cool. We just did a little bit to kind of warm up. And then the second time, we actually drank, and by we I mean I. I had them over. It was a day when I was 17. I didn't have a job at the time, so I was at home by myself. My friends came over early in the day, 10 in the morning, maybe something like that. And Mom was at work, and we were playing Halo, Halo 2, or I guess Halo 3 at the time. We were playing Halo all day and drinking.
Yeah.
And I started by myself on a bottle. This is probably why I hate Jack Daniels, by the way. This is probably why I can't drink this.
I bet it is.
I started on a fifth of Jack Daniels. Full, unopened, something that had to have been a gift to them. It was an unopened fifth of Jack Daniels.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And I started drinking it straight. And I mean straight as fuck. Out of I started with glasses, and then it was out of the bottle.
That takes years of alcoholism to do.
That takes years of alcoholism to do. I even now, I'm close, but I'm not that close.
Yeah, you need practice of being a drunk asshole before you do that.
So I mean, to 17-year-old me's credit, I did not throw up this time.
Okay.
But I started tipping that bottle back before they got there. Yeah. By the time they got there, I was halfway done with it. By the time they took the bottle away from me, it was a fifth. I got it down to yay.
So you drank like 2/3 of the
Two-thirds of this bottle's gone. And they took it, they were like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, they had some drinks out of it, but the bottle was most of the way gone.
Yeah.
And they were finally like, okay, that's enough. And I remember I went downstairs, the upstairs bathroom didn't work at the time, so I had to go downstairs to take a leak. And I remember my friend Mitch shouting something to me out of my bedroom when I was going downstairs to piss, and he's like, if it comes out brown, you have alcohol poisoning. You know what I mean? It was just like a throwaway thing. And I remember, I'm downstairs and I smash my hand up against the wall, and I'm I'm pissing with no hands. One hand's on my head, the other hand's on the wall, and I'm trying to steady my dick into the toilet. And I pissed this enormous amount of piss, and I was tickled pink because my piss wasn't brown for some reason. This was hilarious. And I stumbled my way back up to the stairs, and my room was down the hallway and just off to the left around a little corner.
Yeah.
And I remember I placed both my hands. I remember this vividly.
Yeah.
I planted both my hands on the door frame.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, my pee wasn't brown. And I started laughing, and I fell. And I toppled, not forward or backwards. I had enough wherewithal to fall to the left into the other bedroom. And I was chuckling, laughing to myself. And my vision went black. I blacked out, but I was still conscious. Do you know what I mean?
That's terrible.
I couldn't see anything, but I'm laughing, and I can't, my vision's black.
It's like you disjointed your retinas.
Right. And so I'm in between that weird funky blackout stage, and I remember I hear, God damn it, from the room, and then I hear people getting up and shuffling, and I feel myself get lifted. Godspeed to them. They lifted at the time 220 pounds of dead fat weight. And, I remember Mitch going, I got his head, you get his legs, and thank God my friend Mitch was strong. He hefted me sideways. And they carried me down the hallway and threw me onto the couch. Oh, and I'm still laughing while this is happening. And I'm only halfway conscious. It's just so fucking vivid in my mind. I'm only halfway conscious of the fact that they're talking in the background, and they're going, "All right, what do we do with him?"
Oh my God.
And I'm still laughing hysterically, and I'm drunk, and I'm trying to say stuff to them I'm fine, but I'm not. And I remember
this is scary.
My vision came back, and I'm rolled on the couch, and I'm looking over at them, and they're going. I remember my friend Mitch saying to my friend Tommy no, we can't just leave him. His mom is going to be home in 2 hours, and we can't do this to him.
Yeah.
And I'm so they're trying to figure out what to do. And I'm in my own zone, and I remember my friend Mitch grabbed my head, and he was trying to jar me awake. He slaps me on the face, and he goes, Brady, here's what you got to do. Oh, it's important to note. I almost forgot the best part. It's important to note. My mom had asked me to I did the grass, and then it started raining a couple days before. Yeah. She asked me to do the edge trimming, the weed whacking that day, and I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So they asked me, they're like, here's what you got to do. You got to go into your room, go to bed, take a nap, set your alarm for 5 o'clock. We're gonna go home, get changed. Get a shower. Yeah. And then we're going to come pick you up, and we're going to go to the mall.
Right. So you are not home for
when your mom comes home, you're asleep, and then you need to leave. The only thing you say to her is, hey, I'm going to the mall with these guys, and then be ready. Yeah. And I repeated it back to him. I said, okay, so I'm going to go get a shower. I'm going to go outside and do the weed whacking, and then I'm going to go to bed. He's like, he looked back at Tommy and he's like, no. He's like, no. There's no equipment. He's like, no lawn equipment. Don't do any of that. Yeah. But so long story short, they left and I'm like, all right, I won't do it. And I did. I went out and weed whacked horribly. Drunk weed whacking. You know, like all over the place. And then, yeah, they took me to the mall and like I sobered up and everything was okay. Which brings me to, and I will just, I'm just going to get into this. The third time that I got drunk, which leads to the finality of this. It started at 8 in the morning. I had a friend of mine over, a woman, and like my mom left for work, and then she came 15 minutes after that. I poured. You know this story?
I know this story.
So this is
sure I've heard this.
So
one.
this is the reason I know my limit, right? Okay,
yeah.
I know where my blackout zone is because of this, and I will never get to that point ever again because she comes in and I have poured us 2 screwdrivers, which 17-year-old me, this is how he makes a screwdriver. He takes a tall kitchen glass. He fills it all the way up to the brim with vodka, like right up to here.
Yeah.
And then you throw a splash of orange juice in it for color, stir it with a butter knife, and it's good to go. So I drank...
That is not how to drink that.
I drank one of those to myself.
Yeah.
Completely. Downed it, faced it.
Yeah.
I gave one to her when she came in. And I noticed that mine was almost gone. Hers had barely been touched.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, you didn't drink your drink. And she's like, oh, it's too strong for me. And I said, okay, I'll go ahead and do it then. And I did.
She faced her drink.
At the bottom of the glass is when I blacked out.
No shit.
The next couple things come in spurts. I remember being wobbly.
Yeah.
This is going to sound really weird on microphone. I remember being very wobbly. I remember sitting on the floor and her going over to my music, like my CD case. She pulled out the Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bollocks, put it on the stereo. And I remember drunkenly singing Holidays in the Sun, blacking out again. I remember my pants being off, off. I remember her having my pants off.
Yeah, right.
And then I remember another friend. I remember coming to again. Another friend was in the house. Another friend of mine. So nobody I didn't know. And I'm like, oh my god, when did you get here? You're right. Drinking, getting drunk with us.
Jesus.
I remember her peeing in my shower. This is all as I'm telling you this. This is the order that I remember stuff in. I remember her in my shower peeing in the shower drain. I remember somebody throwing a bowl at my head like a frisbee and hitting me. I remember lying in bed with these 2 women. I think we're all naked. And then I remember being in my bed, alone in the dark, with no pants and no glasses.
Oh, that's the worst.
And I remember this. I distinctly remember this part. Coming to, rolling over. My dresser was right next to my bed. Opening up my dresser drawer, puking in it, shutting it, and then rolling back over and passing out.
I remember that detail.
This is super embarrassing now. I was covered in puke. I was naked. I was cold. I had alcohol poisoning.
Probably
pissed myself. You know what I mean? Laying in my own filth in my bed. I pissed myself several times over.
Oh God!
You know what I mean? Puked everywhere. It was not good. I remember.
Jeez, this is.
And by the time I lost an entire day. I mean, it went from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon before it finally stopped.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I remember at one point I rolled over and I heard a friend, a familiar voice. It was a friend of mine named Cliff.
Yeah.
And he was there, and I'm I remember being drunk but having this reaction of oh my god, what is happening? Because people were just coming into my house. Yeah. It was a fucking 80s nightmare movie. You know what I mean? Where the party gets way too out of control. And my friend Cliff was there, and I'm what? I'm what are you doing here? He's I don't know, man. I'm so fucking stoned. And I'm oh my fucking god, this is horrible. So it cuts to another friend of mine, Steve Tweak, who saved my life. He took all the girls were still there doing whatever. He found all the liquor and he hid it from them.
Yeah.
And he got them out of the house. He came in and told me, because I had been coming out of the blackout at that point, and he's look, man, I got all the bottles. They're stashed around the house. He's like, you're just going to have to find them. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Put them away. And I'm taking the girls to Denny's. I got you. And I'm like, I just remember I falling to my knees.
Prayer hands.
I'm like, thank you. I'm like, thank you so much. I don't know what to do. And he's like, it's all right, man. It's gonna be all right. just relax. Go get a shower. Get cleaned up. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Fucking saved my life.
Yeah.
But like that, I ruined my comforter. I ruined part of my carpet. I ruined.
You have a drawer full of dry enough.
Yeah. I mean, it was this horrible thing. And then I went to sleep. I took this. I showered. I found my glasses. I found my pants. I found all the bottles of liquor.
Yeah.
Hid them. I took this horrible shower and I slept.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom came home, and I thought, okay, foolish me. I thought I'm fiddling around because I'm nervous telling the story.
You're like anxious fiddling.
Yeah. She came home, and I'm like, all right, I'm hungry, and I gotta play it off like everything's okay. So we went to B-Dubs. Trying to get some grease in me to fill up, and I remember we're sitting across from each other. She knew. There's no way she didn't know.
No, she had to.
There's no way she didn't know at that exact moment.
Right.
And she's like, "Are you okay? You look horrible." And I'm like, I've been sick all day. I don't know what the problem is. She's like, "Yeah, you look pale and sweaty, kind of like you've been, you didn't say that.
Yeah, right.
You've been fucking drinking all day, And
she had to have known.
No, she did. So I mean. My room was a disaster.
Yeah.
A couple days later, I had to go to California to visit Dad. I went on vacation with Dad to California.
Okay.
A couple days after. I came home. She cleaned my entire bedroom for me.
Oh,
I had cleaned all the puke and stuff out, but she did the laundry for me while I was gone and vacuumed my room and helped pick up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I remember coming home, and she asked me, I was at the top of the stairs and she was at the bottom of the stairs, and we were going out to lunch or dinner somewhere, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, did you get into my liquor cabinet?" And I was just at that point I was so defeated, and I was like, "Yeah, I did." And I just told her. I said, yeah. And she's like, "I thought so."
Yeah.
She's like, "I just want to let you know I dumped all that out." And I'm like, I did. I'm like, "That's okay." I'm like, that's fine. I said, "You remember a couple of days ago when we went to B-Dubs and I looked sick?" She's like, "Yeah, it's." I figured. So yeah, that was and it was just when she told me that, there was no no, that I couldn't lie my way out of it. It was just
that was
I mean, but that's the line. I know where my line is, and that was horrible. I don't know if you've ever pissed yourself before. Have you ever been so drunk that you pissed yourself?
Thankfully,
that is a horrible. You don't want to be in that position.
I have been so drunk that I accidentally was at the toilet and pissed on my own leg.
I mean, I've been there. Everybody's been there.
Everybody does that just once every couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, right. No, I mean, that was the most drunk I've ever been in my life.
I have almost pissed in a sink, almost. No, but what you said, how you still can't drink Jack. That's there's a thing called. I want to say it's called the Ramirez effect or something like that. It's a psychological thing, but it basically says that a taste that you get sick on is one that you'll have an aversion to.
Sure. I cannot drink Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
It makes me want to puke every time.
I can't do peach schnapps.
Yeah,
I couldn't
either.
I couldn't do any kind of stout for the longest time after that one night. Now I've got my taste back for it.
Yeah. I can't drink Southern Comfort for this reason.
Oh, it's too sweet.
It's that sweet thing.
It's too sweet.
I think that's why I drank too much of it and why I got sick on it. It's sweet.
Yeah,
I can just drink a bunch of this because it's candy.
You cannot.
It makes me sick.
Calm down there, Janis Joplin.
That's a very scary story.
It was horrible. Yeah. No, I mean, and I know, and then my friend Mitch got drunk in. This is his mistake, but he got drunk and almost died in my house.
Oh, jeez.
Like drank himself to alcohol poisoning and almost died in my house.
It's like when you're young is when you're vulnerable to this shit. Because you really haven't had all the mistakes leading up to knowing better.
Yeah.
You're making them for the first time.
There was a saying my granddad used to love, which was good judgment comes from experience, but unfortunately, experience comes from bad judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'll give you another one. I went one night to, you guys might know the name of the place. I can't remember. There was a place that used to serve underage.
Mickey's?
Was that what it was?
Irish Bob's, Mickey's.
It was out it was out on Midlothian, I want to say, or in that general area.
Brick House.
I'm not sure. It was Boardman though. It was like northern end of Boardman, southern end of Youngstown.
Like the south side.
It's Mickey's. It's Mickey's.
God, this is so embarrassing, but I went out there one night with a bunch of dudes who I didn't even really like. I don't know. We were hanging out, and I was with them, and they were friends with someone else I knew. So I went out to their place and hung out, and they took me up there, right? And I don't know, I was probably 20. Yeah. I was not
old enough to get away with it.
I wasn't super underage, but I was under 21. And I remember being at this place. It was like, it looked like the Discovery Zone for alcoholics in there. Because all these neon lights and like weird playful colors that just don't make sense at a bar to me.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember sitting down and...
It was Mickey's. It's definitely Mickey's, by the way. That is the underage bar, or was the underage bar.
At the time it was. Everyone knew they would serve.
Yeah.
So I went. And I remember sitting down at the bar, and God, most of this night has left me, right? It's been so long that I really only remember the salient points, which are that I started drinking, and I kept drinking. I was drinking shit like Black Velvet, like I would not drink now, you know?
BV and Mountain Dew, that used to be my go-to.
God, it was, whatever it was, I hated it, but I just kept doing it.
Facing it, yeah.
And I started getting pretty drunk.
Yeah.
At one point, I went outside to have a cigarette, and I'm standing against the wall of the bar, and I see a Youngstown cop pull up the stop sign across from the place, and I'm going, and like I'm drunk, so I'm just being like, "Be cool, man. Be cool, man."
You gotta talk yourself down from the ledge.
Just sitting there smoking, being like, Jesus," you know, like freaking out. And I see them pass, and I go back inside, and I drink more, and I'm starting to get tired.
Yeah.
I remember I was the guy with my head down on the bar.
I've been there.
And the bartender's saying, "You gotta wake up, man.
Wake up. Yeah, you gotta wake up.
Gotta wake up, man.
They won't let you sleep at the bar.
Yeah. And I'm going, shit, I'm sorry. You know, and I keep snapping my head if this happens like twice.
Yeah.
At some point, I start to feel sick.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely sick. I stand up from the bar. I go to start to walk towards the bathroom. I'm like, it's going to happen. This is so bad. I get into the dance floor area onto the way to the bathroom, and I put my hand over my mouth, I go, bleh, and I feel it spray between my fingers as I'm passing some people. Just one quick pop, like that, and I go, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, I probably just threw up on a stranger.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get into the bathroom. I'm waiting. I have my hand over my mouth, and I'm waiting for a stall, and a guy comes out, like, you know, maybe 10 seconds later, and I go in there, and it's just blah, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's on the seat and the floor and the back of the tank and everything.
Yeah.
And some guy's bitching at me outside the stall. Being like, man, what the fuck? Right? And I clean it up with my shoe and toilet paper. Clean a disgusting bar bathroom.
Oh my God.
Because I'm so mortified.
Dude, you gotta just bail at that point. You gotta,
at that point I should have just ran.
Yeah.
Just got the fuck out of there, talk to the dudes I was with, and like just go.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that. What I did do was clean it all up then go and sit back down.
That is a humble pie moment, dude.
Yeah. It was bad. I felt very, very bad about that.
Yeah.
That was so humiliating.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I never got sick at a bar after that. Ever. I mean, that was the last time where I was like, okay, when I'm out,
enough.
I am not going to get like puke
plastered.
drunk.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that position because then you're at the mercy of everybody else around you.
Yeah, like, and of course I didn't drive there. That's why I was getting shit faced.
When you're at home, like if I were to get drunk here and too drunk to like puke drunk and too drunk to go anywhere, I know I have a couch to stay on.
Oh yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like
yes.
And that's where you want to. If you got to get that out of your system, that's where you want to get it out of your system. Like you don't want to be.
You don't want to be out at a strange weirdo bar.
Right.
With strange weirdos.
Where they hand 17-year-old girls free drink tickets at the door. That's why that went out of business, by the way. It wasn't the underage drinking. It's because on ladies' night, they would give you 3 free drinks if you were a girl, and they didn't card you.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
It was diabolical.
It's fucking insane.
Like,
right?
it's really fucked up, and whoever ran that place was very, very sketchy.
Yeah. No, oh, God, dude.
Oh God, this is going to be the most embarrassing episode of all time.
I mean, that's why this is going to work, because it's just running through your own.
We've got to have some more positive drunk mistakes.
Yeah, what's like the best thing you've ever done when you were drunk?
Yeah,
apart from karaoke exploits.
Yeah,
like fun stories.
Okay, so all right, do you have one?
Oh, I mean, I've got like 1,000. the days at Lemon Grove doing karaoke.
Yeah,
getting tanked every night.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday night.
Yeah.
We're fucking great. I have very vivid memories of the crowds cheering every time I would bust out, Mama Said Knock You Out, with gin and juice.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you always did Mama Said Knock You Out very well. That was a winner every time.
I mean, you can really get into it because you just shout. You can just shout the whole way through the song. It's really good it's a really good one to do.
Gangsta Boogie. Gangsta Boogie.
I don't know that I have like any remarkable things that I've
anything that makes for a story
that I've done drunk. I learned the value of not getting drunk too much in public through someone else.
Yeah.
We had both had a few drinks. Me and this random chick who I had started talking to. This is while I was still functionally single.
Nice.
Thank you. And we both got pretty tanked, and it was kind of a crowded night. So she started like feeling me up in the middle of the bar, and putting her hand on my thigh, and
that's all right.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, this is good. So we just kind of started, we started making out a little. She was like
at the bar.
At the bar, I was fucking.
You were
person.
that guy.
Yeah.
Oh fuck it. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But still, it's like whatever. Good for you.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm obviously not gonna say no to some free tongue action at the bar.
Some free tongue action.
Some free face sucking. So I was that guy. We decided to go out into the parking lot instead.
Yeah.
And I was like, at some point I realized, you know what, shit, I have class in the morning.
Yeah.
I can't continue this. And I was like, look, I really gotta get home. I'm just borrowing this car. I lived with my dad throughout college, and it was his car. So I was like, I'm just borrowing this car.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to obscure the fact that I was living with my dad, but I'm just borrowing this car. I gotta get it back. And she's like, well, I could come with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, you're trying to like not mention that part of it.
Right. So we end up deciding, next time. I'm like, oh, for sure, next time. For sure, yeah. This is a decision we'll both make again. Yeah. Right. I'm back the next week.
Yeah.
I haven't had anything to drink all day.
Yeah.
I go in. I'm really hankering for a pizza, and she is sitting there, visibly drunk.
Oh boy.
And she recognizes me, and she's like, "Hey!" And all at once, I realize, oh no, I've made a very terrible mistake. I've made a very big error in judgment.
You have shit where you ate, so to speak.
Yeah. And so she keeps trying to get me more drinks.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I'm like, you know what? I'm just here for like a quick dinner, and then I really got to get home.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, she called me a pussy. She said, she literally, her exact words, "I don't know why you have to be such a pussy about it." And I was like, okay. I really didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
I had never been at this level, and then so I about a month later, maybe I came back. I was with a couple people from a class, and I was sitting at one of the tables. It was a pretty busy night, and we were hanging out talking, and I was telling them a story like I need you guys to help me not get that drunk tonight.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be in that position again. And he's like, wait, does this chick have black curly hair? I'm like, yeah. And he says, I know her. It's her over there, right? And I turn around and I look, and she is in the process of throwing up on the bar. and I
oh my God.
And so I just turn back around and I go, yeah.
Yep. Well, you live and you learn, right?
Yeah. Thank goodness.
We all make mistakes
that.
like this. We all make lapses in judgment, and certainly when it comes to stuff like that, I mean, when it comes your way, what are you gonna back off on that? You're a young guy.
I know, and it's. Not too long ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I was watching Austin Powers for the first time in a long time. Definitely better than watching it when you're 14.
Yeah, right.
But there's the part where what's her face, hot British chick.
Yeah, Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah, her character,
the hottest British chick.
I can't, darling. You're drunk.
Yeah, she gets trashed, and Austin says, "I can't. You're drunk."
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like, and it's if
I've uttered those words before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
learn from this example.
Yeah.
Young folks, heed my words.
Learn from the wisdom of Austin Powers.
Yeah. That's
truly. No,
he's in that universe. He's had more sex than anyone on the planet.
Yeah. Right.
Like, sex is definitely his primary pastime, apart from defending Queen and country.
Yeah.
But if he can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Well, certainly if one person is sober, it's their obligation at that point.
Definitely.
If two people are drunk, it's real easy for both people to make a mistake.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if one person is clearly more drunk than the other, then there's a line where you have to go.
That's a no-go.
I'm sorry. Talk to me tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm thinking about every drunk thing I ever did.
Okay, I got a stupid drunk mistake for you.
Okay.
So I was at my buddy Frankie's house, and we were. What were you doing back in 08, 09? Probably playing Call of Duty. And
like you do.
Yeah, and smoking pot probably. I don't know. But I remember I'm like, man, I want to drink, and he's like, hey, I got some peach schnapps in my closet. He's like, you can go back there, you can grab it. So I went to his closet and I couldn't find the schnapps, and I just grabbed the first schnapps shaped bottle I could find.
Oh my god!
And it tasted citrusy, but it was disgusting.
Was it triple sec? Yeah. For those of you who can't see the dramatic slow motion point that was just delivered to me, that's a ding, ding, ding.
I didn't know that at the time. I was mixing it with water. I'm like, why is this so
much sugar?
Like, Frank, I think your schnapps is bad.
It's turned.
Well, that would be because it's not schnapps. It's thick syrup alcohol. And I was getting drunk, but it was like, I drank most of this bottle.
You faced a bottle of basically Aunt Jemima's maple
right,
syrup.
I drank this whole, which is why I look like this now. I drank this, and I remember like, I'm fucked up, but I remember he came around the corner, and like he went to his room for something, he's like, hey Brady, I realized why your peach schnapps tasted so bad. And I'm like, why? And he pulls the bottle out, he's like, because that wasn't peach schnapps, that was triple sec. I'm like, oh God,
dude, so gross.
Oh, it's fucking disgusting. I got through the most of the bottle. Like,
how much of that must be sugar? Seriously,
it's horrible, dude. It was horrible.
It's like all sugar.
Horrible. I didn't get sick. Just I should have. By all accounts, I should have been sick. That was
disgusting.
Horrible.
By this point, I'm regretting already telling the fucking New York City stories.
Yeah, I know.
I wish I could erase those and tell those again.
Yeah. No, oh god. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the.
Did I ever tell you about the time I faced down a bunch of riot guards with an open container in my pocket?
No.
I'm sorry?
That actually happened to me.
Go.
This was years ago. It was in Kent for Halloween weekend in Kent, which, as you know, can get pretty rowdy. It's literally like all Kent is partying.
I started to get real worried about your actual age when you said I was in Kent and there were riot guards.
Yeah.
This was maybe
Tin soldiers, I'm facing Boone's Farm.
I'm finally getting drunk.
I think it was like 2009, probably.
Yeah.
It was something like that. And I was there hanging out with Donzi.
Yeah.
We were having a good time in Kent. I showed up like around 6 o'clock on a Friday or whatever. And with a bottle of Admiral Nelson. No, we bought a bottle of
Admiral Nelson.
Hey, because if you could drink with a captain or you could drink with his boss,
who are you
going to drink with?
Right.
Admiral.
Yeah.
So we drank a bunch.
Captain Morgan's a pirate. He doesn't have a boss. He's not under a chain of command.
I guess you're right. He's not a member of the...
He's not part of a chain of command. He's a pirate. That's his thing. He has a ship. That's why he's the captain. Anyway, continue.
His only boss is the sea and his alcoholism.
Right. The only thing that would be better would be drinking with Commandant Chad.
Oh my goodness. But no, we decided to drink with the Admiral.
Yeah.
Which is how we started out that evening. And I don't even know if it was the same day. I think it was actually the next day that we were out. We had a bottle of Seagram 7.
Yeah.
I had a bottle of it that we started drinking at his house, and we knew we were going to hit some parties or whatever, and I got a big, bulky leather jacket, so I got tucked in my front pocket, and we sat out for the night. And we saw all kinds of crazy things this night.
Oh, yeah.
We were just drinking and going around.
When you're in a city full of people who are partying, like when Youngstown does the zombie crawl, there's all sorts of wild shit you're going to see.
Yeah. And it was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in Kent, at one point, I was standing on a street corner, and I hear someone screaming, "Ketchup! Ketchup! Ketchup! Ketchup!" And I look, and there's a gigantic guy dressed as a bottle of ketchup holding 2 bottles of ketchup. And he's running around going, "Ketchup!" And then I hear, "Mustard!" right behind him. There's a fucking mustard bottle running behind him, right? then I see that they're holding hot dogs wrapped in tinfoil. And the guy goes, "Ketchup, ketchup." He hands me a hot dog. He unravels it. He goes, "Ketchup? Ketchup, ketchup?" And I go, "Yeah, ketchup." He puts ketchup on my hot dog. And mustard guy's going, "Mustard." And I go, "Yeah, mustard, please." Then they put the mustard on. And then they run away.
And then just when you think it's over, mayo.
It was weird. I mean, nothing like that ever happened to me again in my life.
That's incredible.
But I know, it was insane. But among the things that we did was we ended up down this one street at a house party. I don't know whose house party this was. I don't think we ever found out. We just walked up to it. We saw people were doing stuff all over. We just walked in. And we're talking to people, and we're kind of making friends, and it's getting real rowdy. This place is fucking loud. I had to piss desperately. I was waiting for through this long line to piss, up the stairs or whatever. And eventually, when it's gotten kind of late, and I still have this bottle of Seagram 7 that is like halfway empty, and we decide we gotta go. It's getting late. Yeah. And I walk out the front door. Unbeknownst to me, there were literally a line of Kent riot police all the way up this street. I did not see this coming. I had no idea it had gotten this bad outside the house. But there were fucking riot cops with plastic shields.
Oh my god!
Lining the street. And again, I have an open container in my pocket, so I'm freaking out. And we have to.
It's all right. They're all just in costume.
Well, I didn't know what was going on, so I'm just walking past them, and I'm drunk, and I'm trying so hard not to seem like I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And we're walking. I got this bottle right here, and I'm trying to make bullshit conversation. And I guess it's kind of an uneventful ending because we end up getting past them and getting back to the house. but I still don't know why they were there.
Yeah.
I still don't know why. I thought it was nuts. I'm like, okay.
Dude in costume trying to freak people out.
Yeah, maybe.
There were too many. There were way too many, and they were all the same.
Wow.
I mean, I'm fairly certain they were actual riot cops.
Police. Wow.
That were maybe just on duty because Kent gets wild. Yeah. And Halloween, he gets notoriously wild.
Yeah.
So I faced down a bunch of riot cops and tried desperately not to tip them off to the fact that I had like a half-empty bottle in my pocket.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, I mean, here's the thing. They probably had more growing concerns than the Seagram's number 7 in your pocket.
Right. That's the thing is, I'm the peaceful guy walking down the street not bothering anybody. They're not looking at me.
Right, exactly.
I'm right in front of them and they're not looking at me. They're looking at, the people having a big party on their front porch with the music really loud, and they might set that couch on fire. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Set that. Yeah, I mean that's. Ooh.
Yeah,
I know. I know just how wild like Youngstown gets when the zombie crawl happens every year. Which is coming back up. I haven't been at a zombie crawl in a long time.
Me either.
But man, those are some parties.
Yeah, and in Kent, it's really easy for it to become a huge party because it's all residential streets, basically. Sure. So people are just mobbing everywhere.
Yeah.
Whole areas are just covered with people
drinking
walking.
And yeah. Oh god.
And a ketchup and mustard bottle.
That's insane. That's really insane. You know that, right?
Ketchup. I was like, yeah.
Mustard.
This is the fucking weirdest thing that I ever experienced. And I was drunk, so I'm like, is this happening? I had no idea what I was looking at. That's a drug story. That's not so much about
incredible.
Regret. Not so much about regret as confusion and dread.
I have one. This is going to be kind of uneventful after the riot police.
No, I want to hear it.
All right, I'll tell you about the first time I ever had a crunch wrap.
If it wasn't drunk, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, it was drunk. It was my 20th birthday. And the point of my life where I was at here was kind of set the mood.
Yeah.
I was just as lost as I was when I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. Still stoned a lot, being an idiot, not knowing my place. I was dating somebody who I wasn't happy being with. And it was my 20th birthday, and all I wanted to do was go out and not be in my room thinking to myself. Yeah, and hang out with my friends. All my friends were either busy at work or doing something else.
Right.
The one person who answered the phone when I called, or let me know, hey, was Ross.
Sure.
And he was out.
Ross is always good for some shit.
Right, and I called him and I'm like, hey man, what's as you try to get with my best friends earlier, they were all busy or they didn't feel like going out. And I'm like, well fuck, it's my birthday. Like I want to, I was just moping to myself and I called Ross and he didn't pick up the first time, but he called me back and I guess he was at somebody's house and it was like 8:00 at this point. And I'm like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, what's up? And I said, it's my birthday and I'm bored. And he's like, oh, dude. He's like, hold on, I'll leave where I'm at. I'll come pick you up. So he whatever he was doing, he just dropped it and came and got me. And
Ross is the best.
Yeah, dude, he's cool, man, real cool. And he came and picked me up, and we went to a bar that's closed now. It's called Slim's Place, and Ross was 21 at this point. I had just turned 20. It was my 20th birthday, not my 21st. Mm-hmm. So Ross was old enough at this point. He... Whoa, the fuck?
That's the coffee.
Oh, coffee. But no, he was friends with the Slim.
Yeah.
And Slim's dad, who ran Slim's Place. They ran the bar. And, he knew them from somewhere. Ross knows everybody.
And it's their place.
Yeah, and it's their place.
Right. They're Slim.
As it turns out.
So he came in and he's like, he told me, he's like, and I think he even said, he's like, this is not like Mickey's. He's like, we're going to have to tell them it's your 21st birthday.
Yeah.
So he's like, do not, he's like, they are not going to, they will throw you out if, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
They don't pull up with that shit here. So he's like, I was like, I don't think I have to tell you. Don't act like an idiot. He's like, well, we'll have fun,
Yeah.
So it's my 20th birthday. We're sitting out at the bar. And immediately, I wish this bar was still around because immediately I'm into the vibe in this place. There is they have a little side stage off to the right. It's a big wraparound bar.
Nice.
It's closed off with the kitchen doors, off to the back. And he comes in and he's like, Ross, the bar, Slim. He's like, Ross, what's going on, man? Shakes his hand. He's like, who's this? And he introduces him to me. He's like, oh, this is my buddy Brady. There's a ham case. He's my buddy Ham Case. He just turned 21 today. And he's like, oh man, happy birthday, dude. He's like, we got to get you a shot. And buys me a shot right away. And it was one of those bars where it was kind of like Cedars used to be, where you could sit down with other people at the bar and start a conversation. A real Cheers vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
We just sat down and we're drinking, and I'm 20, so I'm, technically underage, but I was always very good at not being that guy. Right. And I'm still very good at not being that guy who gets too drunk and acts like an idiot in front of everybody.
Yeah.
I never understood.
Well, God bless you.
I never understood how people could be that guy.
Yeah.
Where you go out and you just act like an asshole, and everybody at the bar is aware of you.
Yeah.
I was trying very hard to blend into the bar stool, but everybody there wanted to talk to me because it was my birthday. So I got a drink from everybody at the bar. I didn't act like an idiot. We were outside, smoking and bullshitting with people. At one point, my girlfriend at the time, who, again, I wasn't, happy with, her brother came in, and he's sitting 4 seats down from us. And I was talking with Ross and Slim, and the dude peeks his head out, and he's like, hey, what's going on, man? It's your brother. And I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And he, we're having a conversation, and Slim and Ross are talking, and he, goes behind, and he's like, aren't you, too young? And I'm like, I did one of those, and he's like, I got you. And he was there for all of 20 minutes, and he bought me a drink again. You know what I mean? Ross and Slim slid a drink my way. They were talking about some concoction, and they slid me a drink that was murky and red.
Oh boy!
And they're like, "Here, drink this," and I'm like, what is it? And they're like, just drink it, dude. And it was.
Look, if you're given a free drink, that's you got. If the bartender gives you something for free, it's an experiment. They want you to try it. You don't have to pay.
Sure,
fucking drink it.
Well, it was a goof on me, as it were. But it came in a triple shot glass.
Oh my god!
So it was this big mix of, and it was murky and red, and it was weird. And I took a sip, and it didn't taste as bad. It just tasted odd, and it was very spicy. It was and it wasn't bad. It was vinegary and then spicy.
Yeah.
And then alcohol-y, burny alcohol-y. And I'm like, wow, what did you make me drink? And they're like, 151 in hot sauce. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, why did you make me do that?
Right.
But I faced terrible. It, I remember we were out back smoking, and me and Ross were shooting the shit, and I flicked a cigarette, and it bounced off of the wooden fence in the back on one side, bounced into another one, and then ricocheted into a glass sitting on a table, a full beer glass.
No!
And I remember, I was drunk, and I'm like, oh, fucking king, what a shot, And everybody's like, yeah, out on the back patio. And I'm like, oh, that was so cool. And this dude comes over to me, he's like, dude, that was awesome. But that's my buddy's beer, and he's going to be mad if he sees that. So go back inside, and I'll cover for you. Thank you. So I narrowly avoided an ass kicking. But yeah, we left the bar right before last call. It was 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
He took my stupid drunk ass to Taco Bell. And at this point, it's important to note, I never really ate at Taco Bell. I never really had Taco Bell ever at this point, actually.
Really?
Never in my whole life.
You went that long without eating Taco Bell?
I never had a taco until I was in my 20s.
Are you fucking kidding?
It always sounded, I was one of those picky when I was a kid, and it was one of those things that I never just...
Well, I was too, but
It was, I just never got over it. I'm like, I don't like tacos. I never had one.
Chris, I need to tell you, this is the most alarming thing I've ever learned about you.
No.
And we've been doing this for a while.
It's true. I didn't have Mexican food.
Yeah, you wind up this whole story with I did a shot of 151 in hot sauce. I double banked a cigarette into some dude's beer. Also, I'd never had a taco at this point in my life.
How does one bank that perfect cigarette flick before they've eaten a taco?
Sorry, I don't know.
Life is out of order.
I know, it's weird. It's really weird. But no, he took me, and I'm like, nah, I don't like Taco Bell. I don't like Taco Bell. Turns out I just never had Taco Bell, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So he took me there, and he's
I did the same thing with chicken for a long time.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just one of those things that you just got to teach yourself to get over. And he took me there, and I'm like, I don't like Taco Bell. He's like, dude, just trust me. He's like, I will order for you. And he got me a Crunchwrap Supreme. And it came out, and it was like that perfect 2 a.m. hot. Like they made it fresh just for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I got it was the cheesy potato burrito, which is still part of my order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got the cheesy potato burrito and a Crunchwrap, and he ordered it for me. And we pulled into, this is the thing Ross and I used to do, where we'd go real late at night. We'd park in Fitch's parking lot and sit on the back of his car and smoke cigarettes and just talk. You know what I mean? Just shoot the shit. So we pulled back there and we're eating Crunchwraps. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I remember I took the first bite of this thing and it was hot and it tasted good. I'm like, oh my god, it was like a religious experience. But we're sitting there, we're shooting the shit, and I remember an officer, like a cop, pulled up. Again, Ross knows everybody in town, so like I'm like, I was freaking out. He's like, what are you freaking? This is also where I get my mentality from, because I've had this happen to me and I've been on the other end.
Yeah.
He was like, what are you worried about? He's like, we're not doing anything wrong. He's like, we're just, he's like, we're just standing out here. We're not, we're not doing anything illegal. And I'm like, yeah okay, And he knew the cop, and he's like, Ross, what's going on? He's like, it's my friend's 21st birthday. I just took him out. I'm driving him around. And so we stopped and talked with this cop for like an hour.
This would scare the piss out of me.
At 2 a.m, you know what I mean, at the high school parking lot. You know? So like, now whenever I'm in that position and somebody's like, oh God, the cops are here. I'm like, okay. Like we're not doing it. You're not doing anything. What do you care about,
Yeah.
We're white. They're not after us.
Oh my god.
No, I'm kidding.
But also that's kind of
that's at least a little true. But no, it was
Jesus.
Yeah, that was the first time I had a Crunchwrap. That was like one positive. I wouldn't say that was a drunk mistake, but I was very drunk.
Well, Taco Bell's never the right choice, but it is a satisfying choice often.
I can think in my college years of 2 things that were absolutely drunk mistakes, but they turned into positive. They ended up being positive experiences, but in retrospect, they were absolutely mistakes. The first was when I had biolab. You needed for a liberal arts degree. Mine's in psychology.
Yeah.
You needed a like concrete science class with a lab. So I took biology. I was like, okay, I'll learn about animals and cells and shit. The bio lab was once a week. It was every Friday, and it was an hour and a half course where we learned about how microorganisms interacted via making wine.
Oh, yeah. I did one of those.
We had white wine must.
Yeah.
The juice that is squeezed from grapes. Mm-hmm. We added yeast. We documented everything: the specific gravity, the bacteria interacting with not the bacteria, the yeast. Eating the sugars in the wine and converting it to alcohol. We documented everything.
Yeah.
50% of your grade was turning the notebook in at the end of the semester.
I remember that.
The other 50% was showing up.
Uh-huh. And an extra 20% was for drinking nasty lab wine.
Yeah.
You know what? It actually wasn't bad. We did, of course, get to take some home.
Yeah.
And so he told us, we're gonna have a lot. This is, it's like this gigantic fucking, glass vat. It's like, you could fit a small child. You could fit several small children.
And I did.
And we tried.
God bless us, we tried.
The most we did was 3.
We had to take them out before it spoiled the wine.
Right. But the drunkest kids I've ever seen, I'll tell you what. So he said, bring 2, bring 3 bottles even if you want to fill it up. So everyone showed up. Everyone showed up, and they had they had their own wine bottles. Just empty wine bottles from home.
Yeah.
1, maybe 2, but see, I was clever. Okay. What I did was I got a 2-liter of Sprite from the convenience store. I drank it all the night before. Came in with this empty 2-liter bottle, filled it up with wine. Yeah. This was my first class in the morning, mind you.
No.
I was done at like something like 10. So it was just our finale class. So I think I was done even earlier than that. So it was like 9:30. I have this big 2-liter bottle of it's white wine. So for all intents and purposes,
it's Sprite.
It looks like Sprite.
Yeah.
It looks for all the world like I'm just drinking Sprite. This was one of the best days of my college career. Was just walking around end of the semester. I've got like 2 finals done. 2 aren't till next week. I've just passed my biolab class. So I walked around from class to class, sipping on this fucking 2-liter of white wine, cleverly disguised as Sprite. The only person who actually ever commented anything on it was this girl I sat next to in I was taking a forensic chemistry course for some credit or another, and she keeps looking at me. And I'm just like sitting there, you know, paying attention, just doodling in my notebook, and she's like, "Are you drunk?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Oh yeah.
That's hilarious. I love that reaction. Just yeah.
Like what did I care? Like I you know, it was a good semester. I'm passing all my classes. I'm gonna spend the day walking around getting day drunk on campus.
Sure, hell yeah. That was my entire college career, by the way.
You know, in retrospect, maybe a bad decision because it could have turned out badly.
Yeah.
But it was a success, so fuck it. The other one was when I passed my capstone class full of gin. What happened was we did a presentation. For anyone who hasn't listened to the previous 19 episodes of the show, newsflash, I really like video games. I'm really big into this whole video gaming craze that the youth are. It's sweeping the nation.
You know, the kids are doing it with the clicking and the beeping and the starting and the pausing and the
So the girl I was paired with, she liked video games too, and so we decided, let's do our final capstone presentation. We had to present like a 20-page research paper and do a presentation in front of the class about the thesis we had come up with, and the thesis was you know, here's a collection of all the known evidence and research that's been done on what video games do to the brain. Yeah. And here's why we think that it isn't negative. Here's why we think, you know, media sensationalism, blah 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 blah.
So it's like a data-driven approach as opposed to like the sort of media craziness about games.
It was mostly a thesis on the current state of research into this developing medium. Okay. And it was solid. We lucked out, I think, a little bit because our professor also really liked to play video games. Yeah. So it grabbed her interest right away. But the day of the presentation, I didn't have a class between my first class and the capstone, so I went and had, I think, 6 or 7 gin and tonics.
Yep. That was the drink of choice at Inner Circle.
It was.
Gin and tonic and MGD.
I haven't had a good gin and tonic in a while.
No, that was the best. I've never had a better one than at that bar. They were always good.
Super good. Not too dry, not too fruity. Yep. And so I show up. And I sit next to my partner, and she's like, "All right, are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." Full disclosure, I've had a bit to drink, but I think we're gonna be okay. And she's like, "Oh, okay."
You opened with that?
Yeah, I mean, not in front of the class.
Yeah, right.
No,
full disclosure.
Just to her.
I've had a bit to drink.
I was gonna say exactly who did you say this?
So I get up in front of the class with her, and we call it the PowerPoint. And I'm like, you know, I'm still like, it's all up in the head. Like I can feel the pressure up in my head, and so I just go. Video games. They're an emergent medium, and we still don't know too much about them despite all our psychological knowledge. And just killed it. Yeah, I fucking killed it. Yeah. Me and her, we just both
just launched right in.
She like gives you a little fist bump underneath, like
just professional as hell. We got an A on our presentation.
Nice.
I passed that course with an A.
While full of gin.
While full of gin.
Somehow the fact that it's gin makes it even funnier.
No, we killed it. We fucking killed it.
That's awesome.
Great.
I don't know if I ever went to class drunk. which is weird because I had so many opportunities.
All the time.
All the time.
No, because I really didn't do the bar thing in between classes.
Oh, I did. I did before.
Oh, you remember? As soon as I would schedule my classes around
11:30 is when it opened.
Every 11:30. Yeah.
I always tried to leave lunchtime open, but I was genuinely eating.
Drew
lunch.
and I many times waited at 11:15 to get into Inner Circle at 11:30 and drink beer. Yeah. That was one of those like people would go in and out all day, and we'd have the same table for 6 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
I remember one time I went to this same forensic chemistry class. The teacher was just the definition of Spurglord. He was so like, you remember Ben Stein's character in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Imagine that, except he's also an asshole.
Okay.
So there was one day where I decided to skip 2 of my classes before chemistry because there was this girl, not the same girl from the other story, but this other girl who I was making real good friends with, and we decided to stay there for a good 4 or 5 hours, get drunk, and play the entire Big Lebowski soundtrack on the jukebox. And that was
a great idea.
That was a really good. That was a damn fine day, well spent. I went to that chemistry class. Didn't learn a damn thing. He just talked about the same thing he had talked about the day before, and that I feel like was, in retrospect, was not a mistake.
Yeah,
that class sucked. But the other 2, I think could have easily turned out as mistakes.
Yeah, right. I think you lucked out big time.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's college is lucking out big time.
Yeah, and that's exactly where your luck stops, by the way.
Right.
All the luck you're going to have
is gone. No,
is gone after
you gotta make your own luck now. Well, I mean, I guess we should probably...
I was just going to say, we're coming up on almost 2 hours.
Okay,
so
no, that's right. No, that's good. That's actually shorter than I thought.
So. I want to thank Gable, because this is a really good topic.
I was going to say, I have a lot of other...
we're not done with this.
You're talking about Inner Circle. I'm thinking about the time Drew rescued me from Inner Circle from... you know what? We'll come back to this. Maybe
I think we should do this one. We haven't gone back to any topics yet, even though we've said we should.
Maybe when I come around hosting again, maybe we'll do a part 2 to this.
That would be actually a lot of fun.
Maybe my next hosting gig in a couple weeks. We'll come back to that. So remind me when we get to that point.
Sure thing.
And maybe we'll resume where we left off, because this will be part 1.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah. We have enough for 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah. We'll be back in a little bit. We're gonna get into recommendations and then what we learned. So,
all right.
Thank you for listening.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
What follows is an original phonograph recording of the original 19 crimes by which a citizen of the Crown could be punished by transportation to the then unknown continent of Australia. This is a King's Public Service phonograph distributed for your knowledge and information. 19 crimes denominated single felonies punishable by transportation to the savage and barbaric continent of Australia. Whipping, imprisonment, the pillory, and hard labour in houses of correction according to the nature of the offence. The principal of which are the following. Number 1, grand larceny, theft above the value of 1 shilling. Number 2, petty larceny, theft under 1 shilling. Number 3, buying or receiving stolen goods, jewels, and plate.
I got a TV in my trunk right now.
Number 4, stealing lead, iron, or copper, or buying or receiving.
But I love lead.
Number 5, impersonating an Egyptian.
With my sister.
Number 6, stealing from furnished lodgings. Number 7, setting fire to Underwood. The poor town has been through enough. Number 8, stealing letters, advancing the postage, and secreting the money.
I'm sorry, secreting the money? If I could do that, I wouldn't be here.
Number 9, assault with an intent to rob. That's rob with a capital R. For all you Roberts out there.
I never intended to be anyone but Dave.
Number 10, stealing fish from a pond or river. Believe it or not, you'll get shipped all the way to Australia for this.
Isn't that just fishing? This is what we call fishing, right?
Number 11, stealing roots, trees, or plants, or destroying them.
Oh, that's terrible. I've burned so many leaves. Guess I can't smoke pot anymore. I guess not.
Number 12, bigamy. Number 13, Number 13, assaulting, cutting, or burning clothes.
I cut my hand off the other day. Wow, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
Number 14, counterfeiting the copper coin.
Haven't we evolved past copper? Yeah, really. Aren't we all using debit cards by now?
Number 15, clandestine marriage.
No, I don't even know what the fuck that means. I love clams.
Number 16, stealing a shroud out of a grave.
Who the fuck would steal a shroud from a grave? Probably Shemar. That's disgusting.
Number 17, watermen carrying too many passengers on the Thames, if any drowned.
Kim Basinger.
What? Number 18, incorrigible rogues who broke out of prison and persons reprieved from capital punishment.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that word, please?
Incorrigible rogues who broke out of prison and persons reprieved from capital punishment.
Oh, thanks, that was much clearer. I really appreciate that.
And number 19, imbuing naval stores in certain cases.
Keep your laws off my belly button, asshole.
We thank you for your time. God save the king.
God save the king. Oh, man, I can't wait till America.
Don't pester the Buckingham Guards. Oh, 5 shillings for a handy.
That's pretty good.
Take a stroke of me knob, Governor.
Oh, that's the dog.
What? Oh,
He's like playing with something. I don't know.
it's like Stingray.
I wonder if he's eating that half a pen. That
Either that or it might be. Either that or he's farting.
He's probably farting.
He might be farting because I keep hearing this like. I think it's the dog.
Oh, these floors are so uncomfortable, but I gotta be around humans.
He looks so silly down there.
I know he does.
I try to ignore him when we do this, so he just doesn't bother us.
Yeah, it's worked except for a couple times.
Yeah, you guys don't know this dog, but he doesn't lay down like a normal dog. Like where a normal dog would like put his hind legs out behind him and just kind of like rest on his arms and keep his head up.
He's got the bony rib meat straight down on the
know, right?
This jerk ass just he's like his hands are like splayed out to the sides of his head. His chin is resting on the floor.
He looks more like a carp than a dog.
Yeah, he does. Like he's bottom feeding.
He's like a dead fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
I
god.
sure hope he's not dead.
Yeah.
He's not really moving.
Hey boy, are you dead?
No. He's on. Yep.
All right, that's a relief.
All right. Anyway, we're back.
Oh, it's a relief, he says.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a gnat on the ceiling. I so want to smack it.
Smack it.
I'm gonna smack it.
Don't be a pussy. Come on.
Smack.
Smack my dad up.
I got this. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh god, you got him.
Oh yeah, I did.
Nice.
Shit,
That is
brutal.
one dead gnat.
Woo.
Fatality.
Get the hell away from my beer, you son of a bitch. Okay, so we're back.
We're back, everybody.
Yes.
Well, I guess we need to get into recommendations for this week.
Yes.
We sure do.
This week we're going to start with
No, we're not.
Dave.
All right, we are. Okay. Why don't you gonna psych me out again?
Nope.
I have some good ones. I actually have a. What's
That was
what's
me.
that?
That
Okay.
was me. I'm sorry.
You fidgeting?
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm fidgeting.
Stop fidgeting.
I
You
can't-
guys both with your fidgets.
Fuck you! I'm autistic. That means it's illegal to make fun of me.
Yes, because we never did Mr. Autism.
Mr. Autism.
Because that never happened.
Yeah.
Because that never happened.
I have a recommendation for you guys. It is something that I bet slipped under your radar.
Okay.
Because it certainly slipped under mine. This is a new Netflix original series.
Okay.
I didn't really see it advertised. I think I saw it pop up in some of the new features, but I didn't see it really anywhere.
And you're, of course, talking about Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider
Rob.
is Rob Schneider.
And he's about to find out that Rob Schneider is a fucking loser.
Wacky antics like farting in the bed.
By the way, we're not joking. Rob Schneider has his own Netflix show.
Yep, it's called Real Rob.
For some reason.
You know what? Honestly, I'm going to end up watching the first episode.
It
looks so bad.
It doesn't look good.
It looks so bad. But
It looks so bad because Rob Schneider looks so bad.
I know, but if I'm going to shit on it as much as I know I want to.
Okay, well let's try an episode tonight.
Yeah.
Let's pick one episode at random.
Wait, we should watch one episode and see how far we get.
Yeah.
But no, this one, it's a documentary series called American Vandal. Does this ring a bell to you at all?
No, I never heard of it.
It's actually not a documentary. I thought it was. It's a mockumentary.
Okay.
Which I didn't know from the initial branding materials. Let me set the stage for you.
That's the best.
Because this is, it's amazing to me. It's an 8-episode series. Each episode is about half an hour.
Sure.
The setup. One day in 2016, at a high school in California, students all walk out of the building to see 27 dicks painted on 27 cars in the school parking lot.
In a row?
In a row! Seriously, 27 bright red dicks spray painted on cars. And a student is accused and expelled for doing this. One young student documentarian sets out to prove his innocence in a full-form Netflix-created documentary series. It has all the hallmarks of Making a Murderer.
Oh my God.
Of like the serious documentaries.
Brilliant.
Is fantastic.
First of all, I can't tell you how many times they unironically say dicks. Like, when they're talking about this thing seriously, I mean, like, we spoke to the principal, and he's fairly certain that the only person who could have spray painted the dicks was what's his name or whatever. Like, they always say dicks.
They're not even just like hesitantly going, these phallic type objects.
They say dicks
It's just
without
always
hesitation
dicks.
every time. It's so funny. It is approached with such seriousness. I have never seen someone stick to a premise like glue like this and treat it so seriously.
That's funny.
It's so great. Without spoiling anything, let me give you an idea of the kind of investigation they do. Very early in the show, it pops up. Wait a minute. It was right under our noses the whole time. Look, the ball hairs. There's no ball hairs on these dicks. Every time this kid drew dicks on the whiteboard, there were always ball hairs. He always drew the ball hairs. Where are the ball hairs? I mean, like, it's so... They treat it like it's an actual crime series.
Oh my God.
The kid documentarian, the role of the kid documentarian, he's just... he plays it perfectly.
CSI Special Dictums Unit.
It's amazing. Basically, he maintains that he's not out really to prove the kid's innocence. He's out to find the truth. And it takes 8 episodes to get across the course of this investigation. I kept going back and forth whether it was good or not, but it kept impressing me with all the tropes of like docu-series that it would bring in.
Sure.
Like big fancy graphics reenacting the scene of the crime with
Silhouetted anonymous witnesses.
yeah, voice changed, blurry faces, and I don't want to go on record, but this is what happened. You know, like they did they did a very good job of playing out all of those docu-series tropes very, very sincerely.
That's it. American Vandal.
American Vandal.
I am going to watch this.
I think it's a little bit long for what it is.
I don't care. I'm going to watch all of it.
It's worth a watch. In fact, I'd like to just show you the trailer later tonight. But I think it's worth watching. So put that one on your short list. If you like true crime documentaries and you like mockumentaries, you are going to love this one.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I finally came down on the side of it's impressive. It's just very impressive how cleanly they stuck to that.
Nice.
So anyway, that does it for me.
That's fucking.
Also watch Big Mouth, but that's a throwaway. Yeah. Also watch Big Mouth. It's not bad.
Really, I've heard mixed things.
I felt mixed things, but it's overall on the balance of it, it's not bad. Yeah, you don't have to watch it, but if you're looking for something one night, Big Mouth ain't bad.
Rex?
So I've got a couple. I would like to reiterate because I only just beat it last weekend. That took me a few seconds longer than it should.
Yes.
Whenever Eddie Van Halen's solo comes up in that thing, I always, because there's that knocking sound, I always like to imagine it's just like, I always picture some little old lady sitting in her house and there's a knock at the door. She opens it up. It's Eddie Van Halen rocking this solo out on her front stoop for no reason. She's like, Eddie, oh, what a polite young man.
Make love to me, Eddie Van Halen, please.
Wow.
I would like to reiterate, since I've finally beaten the game, my previous recommendation for Psychonauts.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I finally beat it.
Great game.
We've given this game a lot of time on this show.
Yeah,
it deserves
it's
every
worth
minute.
it, yeah.
Fantastic
Please, Tim
game.
Schafer, remaster that game.
From beginning to end, it was delightful. It was unexpectedly dark in places. The fire monster in the cage. Yeah. I don't want to spoil too much, but like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that so much.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious.
The milkman level had me cracking up for days.
Yeah, I've seen enough of this.
Crew. This is my stop sign. Our backs are killing us.
I've seen enough of this campaign on this mission on YouTube to know I would really love playing it.
The Napoleon strategy game was also a big favorite of mine. Very, very funny.
They do not make a bad game, do they?
No.
Double Fine.
They don't make a bad game.
They don't make a bad game.
They don't.
They don't. Much like Rockstar, they do not make a bad game.
Make a bad.
They don't make a bad game.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So to continue, I would like to recommend. I believe a couple episodes ago I recommended Mos Def and Hakeem Talib Kweli. Our Black Star. I recommended that. I would like to recommend what you followed up with that night, which is Mos Def's Black on Both Sides.
That is an excellent album.
Groovy as fuck.
Yeah.
It's everything I love about West Coast hip hop.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a the penultimate track on that is a song called Mathematics, and it's two of the most complicated rap verses I've ever heard put down. I mean, they're incredible.
Nice.
I mean, they're really good, really well constructed. I mean,
so you listen to it then, and you're double recommending it.
Yeah.
I'm recommending
Black Star. And then Black on Both Sides.
I'm double recommending Black Star and Psychonauts, and I'm for the first time recommending Black on Both Sides of Mos Def.
Yeah, great album.
Fan-fucking-tastic. And my final recommendation for the evening: go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, my friends. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio.
Hall of Fame.
Go there. Just go. It's super cool.
Yeah, especially if you're here.
Yeah.
People don't really have a great excuse not to see that.
Yeah. It's great. It goes into all the detail you could ever want. Mm-hmm. It helps me, musical plebeian, figure out there are these little booths where you can pick a famous rock group or musician. I picked the Doors, of course, because
find their influences.
Right?
Oh,
and
so they chart it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can listen to samples of their influences, and it just like it clicks.
Yeah.
Like I feel like really for the first time, I really now understand the kind of influence that the blues have had on rock and roll.
Enormous.
For the first time, and it's so obvious now. Like it should have clicked for me before, but what I'm still mystified about. And I guess this is more just a natural evolution, just a changing of the times, but more melodic, sort of melodic, or maybe even amelodic, like heavy metal.
Yeah.
You've got the grand symphonic kind of heavy metal, and then you've got like the
the wall of bass,
right?
Or the real primal.
And I assume that comes at least a little bit from the dawn of punk.
Yeah.
And from certainly from British influence on the state of rock in this country.
They're invariably intertwined, you know.
Yeah. But it's strange to hear something as not dependent on format. Well, maybe as the blues, because you know
it's certainly very structured.
Yeah. Yeah, ba 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 ba.
Yeah,
and it comes back to the root.
Yeah,
you know that's the form of blues music, and
something about blues. It is very, very defined by structure.
4 on the floor roundabout kind of.
Yeah.
Very formulaic. Where you know something like jazz or prog is in wild time and
right
a lot looser.
Yeah. So I'm interested in seeing how like metal and punk kind of diverged from that, versus like the more classical sounding stuff, you know, Springsteen, Tom Petty,
sure,
stuff like that. But yeah, it's super educational. It's one of the first things I saw going in there was Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar, and looking at how much it's been used.
Worn, it's very worn.
It's it's one thing to like see him and hear him play, but to see the toll it takes on his instrument,
it's so cool.
Another thing entirely.
That's the look, man. When you play, especially something like a Strat that's so clearly symbolic of that kind of music. When you see, every guitar player wants the worn fretboard look.
Yeah.
Where the top layer of gloss is worn off of the guitar and you're actually digging into the wood of the fretboard. Yeah.
And that's rock, really. It doesn't need to look pretty, it just gotta sound good.
Oh, yeah. It's better when it doesn't look pretty.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's even better when it doesn't look pretty.
Right,
it's even better when it's grimy and when it rails against culture,
sure,
when it rails against propriety.
Right? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there is really no, if you're even a mild music fan and you have no excuse in this area to not really go and see it. It's because it's really something that should be seen if you have the ability. It's not expensive to get in.
Absolutely.
You know, it's worth a visit.
And I mentioned to you guys too, this previous week when we weren't here, Tom Petty passed away. And when I went,
worth noting,
all throughout the atrium, Tom Petty music playing, just exclusively Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah. 2017 is finishing off what 2015 and 2016 started.
Yeah.
We are officially harboring in the era of en masse those like artists that changed the soundscape of rock music. They're starting, you know.
Well, you could really say that a lot of I kind of think that a huge number of legends were born at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
And then we went through a kind of, not like a dark ages exactly, but we went through a very long time of expendable music.
Yeah, sure. The 80s.
Yeah.
For the by and large.
One-hit wonders.
A lot of the 90s too. A lot of, I mean, really, I don't think that since the 60s and 70s we've had the kind of
that creative explosion.
Yes.
It'll come back.
I think though that the course rock is going now, it's always been reflective of the time it's been composed in, and I think a lot of the stuff coming out now, like the indie rock, is very, it's very sad. It's very down, and I think that's where rock is going now. I think that's very indicative of our times.
Yeah. Well, plus music was like a significant. It meant something at a time. Music was, I mean, the fact that protest music was a thing.
Yeah.
In a big way, and then didn't achieve that kind of importance maybe ever again.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
since the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Joan Baez just got inducted this year.
Yes, she did.
And
she did.
If there's any one woman from history that I could fall in love with, it would probably be Joan Baez.
Just like Dylan did. And it's important to note, if you know anything about music, that we wouldn't have Dylan if it wasn't for Joan Baez. Dylan probably, aside from, except maybe the Beatles, the most influential musical artist ever.
Yeah.
Ever. You know what I mean? And it speaks volumes that he influenced the Beatles. You know what I mean? And without Joan Baez, you wouldn't have Dylan. Dylan was made famous by Joan Baez.
Yeah.
So it's really tremendously important to think back.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have some of those beautiful songs without, somebody behind the curtain.
Yeah.
That's how I'm happy to see her get her due. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I was surprised. Out of all the names like inducted this year were Yes, ELO, Tupac.
Yeah.
Out of all the names on that list, I was most surprised to see Joan Baez only got inducted this year.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And I see a lot of arguments online because there's a lot of. I can't believe this artist isn't in. Well, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of really great artists to choose from. And spoiler alert, it's really fucking hard to narrow that down. And so you have a lot of like huge glaring omissions that you know. There's some that are like, oh, come on already, you know. But there's others that are like, yeah, you know, I can see why.
It's like there's a difference between influencing the culture of rock and kind of riding the tide. Yeah. And so as like on the drive home, I remember I was thinking about Boston. Like that's one of I can't think of a bad song on that album. Boston's first album, But then I thought like, well, did they really do anything revolutionary? Or were they just kind of riding on the current that was already happening? No,
not really. They were certainly great, but it was, you know...
they were undeniably
70s
amazing.
Cock rock, you know, that like a big arena, kind of like half proggy in the era of Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Yes.
Right.
And,
same reason like Warrant isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Right.
Skid Row.
Mm-hmm. Being a talented musician or creating really great music are not the only reasons to be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you gotta influence the culture. You gotta influence the.
You have to be moving the ball forward,
right?
And that. It takes more than just making good music to do that. You know, you really have to have people want to be you on some level and learn from you.
And this is, you know, again, I'm a musical plebe. I haven't really listened to some of the older ones like Beach Boys or Bill Haley and his Comets, both of which are Hall of Fame inductees.
Listen to. Dude, I'll give you a personal recommendation. You want to dig into the Beach Boys, pick up an album called Pet Sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Because except for, and then when you're listening to Pet Sounds, throw the song Good Vibrations onto the end of it because it belongs on that album and it's not for some reason.
Isn't Vegetables on Pet Sounds? Yeah. That's one of my favorite weirdos.
I remember Vegetables.
It's such a weird fucking song.
No.
You showed that to us.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Except for Sgt. Pepper. Pet Sounds is probably the greatest album ever composed. It's
wow.
It deserves all
as far as like in terms of musical, like creating something that was influential in music.
Yeah,
and that's all Brian Wilson. You know, as much of a prick as he became in his adult, you know, in his life. He also had, it's worth noting, I'm calling him a prick, he had a very fucked up life. He had a very fucked up life. Yeah. So it's kind of noteworthy that it's okay for him to be a prick.
Michael Jackson too.
Yeah, really, for that, truly, it's horrible.
I think the thing is, I've kind of steered away from those kinds of bands like Beach Boys, Bill Haley.
Don't discredit them.
Like
that.
Buddy Holly, mostly because I haven't previously understood why they're so influential. Yeah. I keep thinking of them as like the white bread, you know, 50s. And
but that's the thing is, contextually, back then that was fucking music.
Yeah, right.
Like, think about the alternative. It's like crooners on the radio singing very serious.
I wanna hold you.
These guys were swinging their dicks. Yeah, and people were looking at their dicks.
So this is what I was telling Aubrey on the drive home too. I was like, you know, if this was like the controversial music of the day, what kind of vanilla shit was everyone listening to in 1962?
Bobby V.
Anything you could dance to was taboo because dancing looked like fucking.
Right.
Like it's so hard to appreciate that now.
And that wasn't that long ago. It was 60 years ago.
I know.
It was
not that long ago.
But you can't really dance to jazz, can you? And that was controversial too.
Yeah, that was controversial because it was black people.
Because it was black people.
Black people doing it. Right.
No, it's a revelation to me now.
Personal recommendation: listen to Pet Sounds, and then on the end of that album, tack on the song "Good Vibrations" because it's.
I can do that in Spotify. I can make a playlist of Pet Sounds and then tack on the song.
Yeah, it is probably one of the most.
It deserves all the credit it gets.
Sure, it's a very good album. Very good. Still today holds up. Well, I'm going to let you guys kind of pick because I am going to do an album.
Okay.
I'm going to let you guys kind of pick the era because I have. Excuse me, a couple albums that I have in mind. You can either do a early metal album. You can do a 60s psychedelic era album, or you could pick a rap album. And I'm going to let you guys vote.
If you know me, you know which one I'm going to pick.
I'm kind of leaning towards psychedelic, but I don't know.
Yep.
You want to go psychedelic? So I have so many albums that I would love to recommend on the show, and it's just going to be hard to do them all.
Yeah.
This is one that I listened to several times over again a couple weeks ago, and it is The Doors. It's the second Doors album called Strange Days.
Yeah.
So if you've ever seen, this is another thing I hate about modern music, is the album cover is dying.
Yeah.
Which is really sad to me.
This was another thing when I was at the Rock Hall of Fame. They're works of art in and of themselves.
Absolutely.
They have a whole exhibit about the Summer of Love, and those album covers are just ridiculous.
Disraeli Gears by Cream, the big pink album cover.
Oh, yeah.
Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah.
Even like the White Album. Those are iconic.
The real tragedy of this is that now when you see an album cover, the context you see it in is a thumbnail about an inch square in the corner.
Which is why, I recommended Kendrick Lamar's Damn not that long ago. That's a fucking cool album cover. I'm going to buy it on wax. Yeah. They have it on wax.
Damn is written big on the front of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of artists who still appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, if you know anything,
the Concords.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Album covers are so important. They're so cool. But it's the Doors' second album, Strange Days. It's the one on the front cover where it's like this circus in the streets of LA, and it's like the juggler out in front. You know what I mean? It's this. Look it up if you've never seen it. It's a really cool album cover, and there's some killer songs on that album. Strange Days. People Are Strange, which I'm sure everybody has heard at this point. And the closer to that album, the Doors were kind of fond of putting like a big long soundscape at the end of their records. Yeah. The closer of that album is a song called When the Music's Over. And it's like 11 minutes long, and it's just this, nobody sounds like the Doors. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, there's you can certainly tell their influences.
Yeah.
But nobody since and nobody before
ever.
They were exactly the right band for their time and place.
I always thought if there was there's two bands that
there we go, quoting again.
Yes. There's two bands that you can't classify musically like into a genre. One of them is Primus. I think. Yeah. The other one is The Doors. There's no classification for what The Doors play. Yeah. Carnival acid jazz,
postmodern blues, psychedelic rock funk.
Yeah, I mean you can't. There's no way to describe what The Doors did musically. It's wild music,
progressive blues. Rock.
Right. There's no description. And it's the Doors are Jim Morrison singing vocals, sometimes plays harmonica. Yeah. Robbie Krieger on the guitar, on a weird guitar player. Yeah. Like weird half slide, weird kind of whiny. John Densmore on the drums, their old school rhythm and blues, and then Ray Manzarek keeping no bass. Ray Manzarek keeping the rhythm on the keys.
That is to me.
No bass.
To me, he honestly, he's like 50% of the Doors.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, just him by himself is so responsible.
For
what becomes their sound.
Almost more than Morrison, in a certain extent. I mean, just like But
it's poetry on the instruments and poetry in the lyrics.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all this. It's far out. It is. You really have to stretch your brain to kind of grasp the lyrics.
And it's everything, musically and lyrically. And like I'm just thinking of that song, When the Music's Over. And When the Music's Over is, I'm fairly confident that that's an analogy for death.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
In a very deep way. I'm thinking of there's a line in the song that's.
That's one of those things you can always sing about as long as your metaphor is clever enough. Great Gig in the Sky, Stairway to Heaven.
Right. Okay. Cancel my subscription to the Resurrection. Send my credentials to the House of Detention. I got some friends inside. You know what I mean? That's such clever poetic writing, and it's just.
I have a huge respect for when bands take their lyrics seriously and really write poetry.
He very
Jim Morrison was
kind of a poet first.
Jim Morrison was a step above. He really was.
Yeah, sure. Pick up that. Just listen to it. If you can. buy it. It's worth a buy. It's one of the most important albums ever made.
I'll pick that up on or listen to it on Google Play.
Oh, dude, very good. Very good album. Very good. I have 2 side recommendations quickly before we get into what we learned. One is our co-host Dave Dragowski over here does a podcast with a friend of the show, guest on the show, Christy Davenport.
Yes.
The Goose Chase podcast. I'm a little behind, but I finished the first episode.
Nice.
Where I'm going to start going into it. So check out Goose Chase. They send each other on a wild internet goose chase every week to learn more about something that they don't know as much as they would like to know about.
We have had some real fun doing this.
Yeah,
and we've learned a lot.
It's a cool concept. It's a real cool concept. The title's good. It's on Google Play. It's on iTunes, just like we are now too. Like, we can reiterate that.
Yeah, we are now available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher.
Yeah,
which those 3 put you in
everything,
in basically everything else.
Yeah.
So
check out Goose Chase. That's a cool one. The final quick snippet recommendation I'm going to make is another podcast, and in particular, it's an episode of one of my favorite podcasts, which was one that Dave Dragowski had recommended to me years ago that I never listened to. That you have a T-shirt for that I desperately want.
This is how seriously we take our recommendations.
Yeah, it's true. But I never listened to it, and then I just tried one day, and I got into it, and I hopped in the middle, and I just kind of fell in love with this cast of characters that does this.
Yeah,
it's the Long Shot podcast.
Yes, I believe we may have even loosely, outside of recommendations, mentioned them on the show. They are very, very good.
Sure.
The original format was comedian Sean Conroy. A former student of his, Amber Kenny, was young when the podcast started. A comedy host used to be the booker at the world famous Hollywood Improv, Jamie Flam, and then well-known curmudgeonly struggling forever comedian Eddie Pepitone.
Eddie Pepit won.
Pepit won. The weird mix of these personalities. Pepitone left the show later and was replaced by another comedian, TV producer. Joe Wagner.
Yeah.
He's currently doing the show.
He was a friend of the show for a very long time.
And frequent guest.
Most guest hosts.
Yeah.
And he made a very natural
natural replacement. Yeah. So the episode I'm going to recommend is in the 4th season. It's my go-to on Christmas.
I know what it is.
It's an episode called Chucky's Christmas. And it's top to bottom one of the funniest hour and a half of.
It's tragicomic.
Yeah, it's without spoiling a lot. There's more funny stuff in that episode that doesn't have to do with the main story. Yeah. But without spoiling anything, Chucky is a dog of Jamie's, and he tells this very sad Christmas story about how this dog commits suicide on Christmas.
Oh, it's so sad and it's so funny.
Spirals out of control from there. So listen to Chucky's Christmas.
Chucky's Christmas.
It's like episode 408. Just type in Long Shot Podcast Chucky's Christmas. You'll find it.
Oh my God.
It's worth a listen.
It's really, really good.
It's tremendously funny.
It's probably one of the funniest ones they ever did.
Oh, absolutely. It might be everybody's favorite. It's really funny. All right, shall we get into closing this off?
Yeah, let's talk about what we learned. I learned things. Did you learn things?
I learned that without the sauce, you lost. But you can also get lost in the sauce.
I've heard this.
That's right.
I feel like it's pretty pertinent to the events of the previous week.
Yeah, it really is.
I learned that you have no excuse to not go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you asshole.
Yeah. I learned that Western Ohio is just corn.
Yep, just corn.
I learned that the condiment men are still out there somewhere. You know that, right?
They are. They're out there somewhere. They're not dead.
Mustard.
I learned to roll my R's like that. Can't do it.
I learned that Germany is both the inventors and killers of alcoholism.
I learned that I really want Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I learned don't be a bump on a log, wipe up your puke.
Yeah, there you go. I learned that porno is ruining sex for our teens.
I learned that schnapps is the gateway to misery.
I learned that 151 in hot sauce, not that bad.
It wasn't horrible. It
doesn't sound good either.
I got 2 weird ones on here. One of them just says neckbeards, dude. And the other just says 3 babies deep into a wine jug.
I just wrote Commandant Chad.
Commandant Shad.
I learned that McDonald's cures cancer, apparently.
Specifically ovarian cancer, no other type of cancer.
And I learned that announcing you're drunk is a pretty good start to a presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I didn't announce this to the whole class.
I know, but I chose to write it that way anyway.
Well, revisionist history, fake news.
Fake news. Well, is that it? Is that what we learned? I think maybe we got it.
I think that's it.
That's right.
Well, I mean, we might keep going next time.
That's it.
That's right.
Well, I mean, we might do a third part too.
That's it.
Well, all right. Before this goes on forever.
Yes, and it well could.
Forever? That's it?
Well, I mean, it might go on into the next dimension too.
That's it.
Well, it might exist at all possible points and at all possible times.
That's it.
Well, you know.
All right. Seriously. All right. Next week on 3D Show, Slammy's going to be hosting.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
We'll be right back to our drunken whatever this is. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.
Don't eat the yellow snow.